Sorry if I'm a little fucking snippy.
That's fine.
I'm hurt and I'm old and I'm fucking tired. And I work with fucking children.
Who in the blue hell are you?
I've been going to wrestling shows for over 30 years. I've been producing them on this network for nearly 4 years. Never in all that time have I ever felt, until last Sunday, that my security, my safety, my life was in danger at a wrestling show.
Knock the yeet out your ass.
A double question right now.
Knock the yeet out your ass.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Smack Attack. I am your host, Jimmy T. We are live, by the way, on the Humbin Media Group's YouTube channel and, of course, channelattitude.com after the fact. But my co-host, he is R to the B to the V. He is Richard Bronson Vickery. Welcome back to the Smack Attack. It's 2 weeks in a row, and I'm just happy to have you back, man.
Jimmy! Oi! Oh, boy. Hey, man, I got to put you over here at Jimmy T. Last week we had a little test run. I don't know how you got it done. You went to somebody, the new head honchos, Big Ray, MSG, whoever the case might be. You went to HR. You went to the main office. You got the Blockbuster deal done. Yes, it is true. I'm not just back as a guest, but the art of the BWV, Richard Bronson Vickery, calling the Smack Attack his new weekly home for pro wrestling punditry. What a blockbuster move. Hat tip to you, Jimmy T. But hey, what a debut for me, officially joining the Smack Attack team. And I got to give you props here, Jimmy T. You did this before you brought me in here. You knew this was going to be an awesome conversation. You lined it up. You went out and got us a can't miss blockbuster guest, one of my favorite dudes to talk to. Hey, he has been representing the HMG Army, a frontline soldier, proudly waving that HMG flag for a long time. He's fresh off the boat, here to share some stories from the Jericho Cruise. Hey, when it comes to the Humbin Media Group, he is the biggest deal on two wheels, Mr. Scotty Woodford. Welcome to the Smack Attack, brother.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, Scotty. I'm glad you're here, man. And I just wanted to point out, I mean, how long did the cruise go for, actually, by the way?
It was like 4 days.
Oh, wow. And you stayed on the whole 4 days?
Yes.
No, Jimmy. He took a dinghy and left day two, halfway through.
I don't know how this shit works, man. This is new to me. But we did have some weird shit going on the cruise, apparently.
I said we got a lot of great stories to jump in, but Scotty, again, thank you for taking time this morning to share your awesome experience. I think it was four days this time around, but correct me if I'm mistaken here, brother. But you have been on every cruise so far, right?
Every Jericho Cruise I have been on.
So this makes number what for you?
6.
No, 6 years, and you haven't grown tired of it at all. It's something new each and every time for you.
Yes. Because they have different wrestlers each time.
Pretty cool. So 6 years strong running that you've been a part of such a cool, unique event there. The Rock and Rager out at sea there with Jericho. Do you see a lot of other pro wrestling fanatics? Like, are you like, hey, Scotty, like the familiar faces each and every year or every other year? I mean, is it? Are they retaining?
Yes, it's like it is like a family. Like when we see each other, we just all get happy and have drinks together.
No shit.
Yeah. Now, Jimmy had mentioned that you guys, it's a 4-day cruise. Do you guys get port where you have like excursions and things, or is it strictly everything's happening out there on the boat?
There's 1 day of port. It was at the Dominican Republic.
Okay, well, what kind of questions did they have for you?
Well, I did the Monkey Island where I was able to have like the smaller monkeys run all over me.
I saw you had that cool kind of photo of that. Now, with that, obviously, you got other AEW wrestling fans there with you. Do the talents, do they get involved with that?
Some of them do, some of them don't.
How interactive are they during the cruise? I know you've met some, it got some great contacts. Was I believe last year, you really hit it off with Sabu as he was out there mingling. You guys had a great conversation. Maybe some future podcasting, vlogging plans there. I don't want to expose any of your business, but how interactive are the talents, or is it kind of fans over here, talents over here sort of deal?
Depends on the talent. Like Will Ospreay was all around the whole time partying with the people.
Yeah, he's like that, actually. I've even met Will Ospreay. Funny enough, I was kicking backstage at a New Japan show a few years ago when they had a pay-per-view in my neck of the woods called Showdown Down Under. And funny enough, Will Ospreay approached me. I've said this story before, but he literally tapped me on the back and goes, "Excuse me, bruv," literally. He's like, "Do you mind taking a photo with me and this guy?" And this poor dude, man, he was marking out that bad that he couldn't talk, man. So he couldn't even take the picture. So Ospreay literally asked me to take the picture for them, but he was like just stuck, man. I'm like, calm down, dude. It's just fucking Ospreay. You know what I mean? But yeah, he's a cool dude, man. He's actually very approachable and does actually hang around with everybody. He comes across like a people's type of guy.
He definitely is.
That's pretty awesome, man. That's awesome. But what was going on with I got to get this picture up, man. I just before I do, you guys were all showing me as well. Man, what sort of shenanigans is going on there with Thunder Rosa and?
Well, I guess I'm certain maybe we'd save this one on the backside.
Oh, we'll wait. We'll save.
Your cat's already out of the bag.
I didn't mention the other person, so it's still a secret.
let's come in hot before Scotty gets us. It starts dishing on some of his experiences there. But Scotty, yeah, we're gonna need context. It is king here. Did you see this? Did you hear about it? Was there a buzz on the boat? Well, go ahead, Jimmy. Because the internet is buzzing about this morning.
No, please, Scotty, tell us what was the best things about the
do you have that photo? Do you have that photo?
Oh, no. I was gonna wait till later, but I'll load it up now.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. We need to know, Scotty, was he present for this thing? I need some context before I judge what's happening.
While I do that, continue you guys talking about the cruise while I get this picture up because I got to literally upload it. But
we got a slow uploader, Jimmy. We had some technical difficulties before we went to air with some sound, but we got it all worked out. Hey, I do want to shout out real quick over to the chat. We got Dark Side Caster and Mr. Zane Vicious in the house. Hope we get some more people joining us here on a wet Saturday morning here in Ohio. How are you? I don't know how it is there in Minnesota, and I really don't care how it is in Australia. But Scotty, I got to ask you this, man. Before we jump into some of the interactions with the talents, hashtag RBV eats out. And how's the grub on the boat?
The grub is pretty good because they have a buffet. They also have a Brazilian steakhouse. They got a Chinese restaurant. It does all the hit where they do the stuff at the table.
The hibachi.
Yep.
Oh, very, very cool. All right, man. So kind of take us through some of the highlights for you. What stood out? Maybe some new meetings. It's kind of turned over, man.
Well, I got to talk to Chris Jericho's dad again, and now I got his email, and he's got my phone number, so he's going to try to just reach out to certain people throughout the year just to see how they're doing. Very,
very good. So just kind of a check-in, just a friendly chat.
Yes.
Okay. Because I know in the past, you and Sabu had spent some time talking about maybe working on some projects to get some of his stories out there. Was Mr. Sabu back this year?
No, he was not.
All right.
But his co-host on his Sabu Speaks was on it, and he's known as Cruise Flair.
Ah, very nice.
All right, he dresses like Ric Flair the whole time.
Gotcha. All right, so you guys check in. You're on the boat. What kind of accommodations? What kind of rooms do they have available there? I'm sure there's different packages that you guys
well,
can
there's a drink
partake in.
package that you can buy, like unlimited drinks.
Oh, okay. So did you do that one?
Yes.
All right, so you went all out, man. So
Yes.
that includes you get all your meals, you get your room, you get all of your drinks there. I guess they've got other activities there on the boat as well, or they probably got some.
They got bands, comedians, the whole.
Okay,
Like,
you said bands, you said comedians. I'm immediately going to one of the hottest acts in AEW right now, and she is buzzing on the internet. Very, very talented. One of the most talented people in professional wrestling right now, and that's Harley Cameron. Did you get to see any of her acts there? I saw some video of her with Fozzy, and she was killing it.
I did watch one thing with her and RJ City doing something, and she's just hilarious.
She's awesome, man.
She was basically the star of the cruise.
Of the cruise. That I am so glad to hear that, and I hope that word gets back to Tony Khan. That she is not one of just these flash in the pans. Here's this hot new commodity. Let's push them into a match with one of our champions and then be forgotten, because there is so much on the table with her. I was actually just doing a little research in her background this past Monday. Ben just absolutely adores her, singing her praises. But she down in Australia came from theater where she did it. Jimmy, give me a weird look there. Am I wrong? Isn't she Australian?
No, I'm not you. I'm looking at what I was trying to share.
Okay. So yeah, she was a vocalist in theater, and she actually performed in a bunch of 80s covers bands. So she's very diverse, great personality, just a really, really fun person. You can tell probably to be around. Beautiful, beautiful woman. Got all the makings to be a major star. You always have to wonder if the pro wrestling pond is too small for her. So Scotty,
I think it is too small for her.
Well,
She's just that talented.
I think Harley Cameron's got a lot of potential, man. I mean, the vet's not the biggest fan of hers. You know what I mean? I get told that apparently I hate all the Australian wrestlers. I do not hate Harley Cameron, by the way.
What is Vet's issue with her?
I just think he probably thinks that she's pretty much talentless. He doesn't find her attractive. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no shit. He goes, it's not his type of chick. I'm like, fair enough, each to their own. But I think she's multi-talented. Sure, she's not the best professional wrestler, shall we say. I mean, she's still relatively green.
She's showing everyone what it takes to get over, and that is outstanding character work.
100% agree with you.
She can mix it up with a variety of different styles. I just named off just a little snippet of her resume, how talented she is, versatile she is. And she's showing everyone in AEW that you don't have to go out there, work 20 minutes on the weekly, absolutely destroying your body, overstamping your bump card. She's showing what professional wrestling should be in a company that desperately needs to understand that character over strong.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. She's just, she can sing, she can rap, she's an entertainer. She's pretty much a jack of all trades, in my opinion, when it comes to like entertainment. You know what I mean? Can she be taken seriously as a professional wrestler in the future, though, boys? I'm not sure yet. The jury's still out.
I don't understand what that means. I mean,
well, the perception of, how, come on. I mean, how the marktards are these days, Rick. If they can't go in the friggin' ring, it's like, forget it. She sucks or he sucks or whatever. That's what I mean. Well, the marks, grow into life.
I understand there. Some people are going to kind of dismiss it because they immediately see, she's using a puppet and she's doing ventriloquism.
That's brilliant, man. Don't get me wrong. That's absolutely
I like to mention, one of the most lovable, endearing, still to this day, who's retired so long ago. Some of the most he got over. Everyone had looked at him early in his career as the hardcore wrestler. Mostly got his highest points ever was when he was talking with a sock. One Mick Foley.
That's facts.
Absolute
Facts.
On the Harley Cameron note, which absolutely blows my mind. You guys know how I approach professional wrestling. I enjoy looking at the business of the business, especially the marketing side of it. How in the hell are those Mercedes Moné dolls, those puppets, not front and center over on AEWshop.com? How in the hell are they missing out on that? Mercedes and Cameron could be wheelbarrows of money. A boat the size of the Jericho Cruise, just fill it with money because they would be buying those things up right now.
I would buy one.
Right? See, it's those simple things. You go over to that AEW shop, it's just kind of disappointing. But how in the hell that doll is not front and center there? Absolutely, it's mine.
They don't sell them?
No.
What idiots. No offense to anybody, that loves AEW and whatnot, but that's
no, they just say no. Their merchandise department is an absolute joke. It's almost non-existent. It really reminds me of when you listen to Kevin Nash. It would always tell this story back in the day when he would talk about the subtle differences between WCW and WWE. How, even when WCW was kicking butt, that 83 weeks when it looked like, WWF was, they're about ready to just, hang a close sign on the door. Yeah. It's still, WWE was still in control because they were operating like a big boy business. They were in,
absolutely,
they knew what was going on. And Ash will talk about when you went to WWE and you went to their merch division, like it was an entire floor of Titan Towers. When you did that at WCW, it was like a broom closet.
As a matter of fact, broom closet. As a matter of fact, the Titan Towers, it was like an actual, what do you call it? What do they call when you put money? The vault. It was a vault, literally, of all merch in at the WWE headquarters, or should I say Titan Towers, like it used to be called. You know what I mean? So, that's the thing. But WCW did have a lot of merch, like, relatively. But no one beats WWE when it comes to professional wrestling merch, period. Just looking at the AEW merch that was available down here, I mean, the shirts suck, dude. When you compare them to WWE, it's like some kid just drew all these designs. They look like shit, and they're charging $50 a shirt, mind you.
It's professionals versus amateur hour. Other quick story going back to just the difference there. Jim Cornette would when the Midnight snuck up to Stanford to take a meeting about potentially going to WWE back in the day, they thought they were going to meet and talk about booking plans. Who they're going to come in and work. The Hart Foundation, Demolition, whatever case might be. And Vince starts talking about action figures and merchandise. And Cornette and Express were like, why would we want that? We're heels. We don't want people to buy our stuff. Yeah. And then later on, they were working WCW or one of the territories, something like that. And the Sheik was down there. Sheiky Baby was talking about making $1 million off his toy, Yeah. Because if you're going to buy the Hulk Hogan action figure, you got to have someone for him to beat up.
Absolutely.
And Sheik's getting those residuals. Scotty, that's a kind of a good transition there to more about the cruise. You got good eats, you got good activities, you're mingling with the talents. Was there, I know this isn't exactly an AEW sponsored event, but a lot of their talents involved. How was like merch sales and things like that? Were they showing their goods, or was that kind of non-existent there?
Well, the bands have their shirts there, like Great White, and then the cover band called Guardians of the Jukebox that does 80 cover bands have their shirt, which I bought one.
No, Fozzy?
And Fozzy, of course, had theirs.
Okay, I was going to say.
And then the Outrunners had sunglasses, so I bought
That's
that.
awesome. I love the Outrunners, man. I mean, the fact that they're not even pushing these guys even further than they should be is a travesty to me. But I do have the picture, by the way, lined up, boys. I don't know if I should put it right now. It's funny because of who it involves. But everybody cover your eyes, I think. Whoa, what the hell's that? Scotty, what the hell's going on here, man? Were you present at this? Were you watching this?
Actually, I was not.
Oh, where were you?
Okay,
Probably
so
eating.
well, I mean, it looks like that's what Nia's trying to do to Thunder Rosa there.
That's a lot of tongue.
Scotty, I mean, did you hear about this on the cruise? Did it cause a stir? Were people talking about it? I'm interested. You know, I guess a picture's worth 1,000 words, but I want the context of this thing. How did this thing come about?
I'm not sure that not a lot of people talked about it. So
You know what's funny, boys, ironically, about this picture? You know, Mrs. Rosa gets around. She's literally, she gets around. That's all I'm going to say. I've heard stories. I'm not going to mention who it involves and what it involves, but it's pretty close to us, actually, Rick. I'll just say that.
I know where you're going.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about? Oh,
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to mention names.
Hey, this is the smackATTACK, not TMZ. So
No, but you know what? She's a married woman. You know what I'm saying? Which is bizarre. Like either they've got an open relationship, or I don't know what to say, man. I could say a lot of things, but I won't. But the more I see her doing these weird shit, I can't look at her the same way anymore, dude. I just can't.
Hey, you know what? Hey, she is a modern woman out there living her best life, getting it done. Who the hell are we to judge? I do think it's funny. I was trying to gauge I was prepping this morning, gauge the internet reaction to this thing. Obviously, you got some people that are completely turned off by this. You got some people defending it, but I think the one that pops me the most is like, what's the big deal? This happens every day. A guy kissing a girl. So.
No, yeah. Well, when you put it like that, actually, as a matter of fact, speaking of a guy kissing a girl, but Nyla Rose has made this pretty public. He, she, shim, I don't know what to say at this point, but he's a he, all right? Let's be real. He's still into women. You know that, right? I don't know if you guys know that. He's actually said that.
Okay.
He's still attracted to women. So, I mean, even though he's trying to go friggin'...
I guess we have proof in the pudding there. You know, Thunder Rosa, very beautiful lady there.
I mean, he's still got his things down there for a reason. You know what I mean? He hasn't cut it at all. But, and no, Zane, just quietly in the chat, I'm not being a phobe, all right, for the record. I'm just putting it, I mean, it's like what do you call him or her? Like, what do you call him? What do you call it?
I don't know. Nyla. Whatever.
Just Nyla.
There, you know,
We'll just call it Nyla. I know I'm being controversial right now, but give me a break.
Pronouns and pronouns, whatever you
Pronoun,
want to
exactly.
call yourself, however I see it, I'm going to call it. So that's fine. To each their own. It's Scotty.
They, like what Dark Sarkasa said, is exactly spot on. Who, they, what, they, them. Look at this thing. Like, come on. But like, seriously.
At least they're keeping their hands north of the border there. But Scotty, let me ask you more about the cruise schedule.
What do you want to know about the schedule? Like,
well, okay, so you got 4 days. I mean, there's a lot get in. You said there's other activities. So, all right, you get up, you got breakfast. How do they mix? Do you have different wrestling shows every day? Do you have like different, maybe an afternoon showing, an evening showing, and then they mix the bands in? So how do they juggle all the entertainment there?
they do have like schedules for like the wrestling and the bands play different areas each night.
Okay, so they'll be running some things where you kind of have to choose. Hey, I want to go listen to the band, or
and
I want
to. He does it on purpose so you come to the next one.
Okay, so how sporadic is the wrestling?
The wrestling is usually every evening. They have.
How long does it go for? The wrestling portion.
Yeah, you have like a different card. Do you have like the same guys? Do they tell any storylines throughout the thing where you build up that you want?
Not really any storylines because they're just there. But they did have like a tournament for like the cruise belt or whatever.
Okay, so in a sense, I mean, it's not the the most creative of storytelling, but it is a hook to try to bring you back each night to see who advances.
Yes.
Is it a single elimination bracket, or do they do like the round robin, like the G1 or the
It's
Continental
single elimination.
How many wrestlers are involved in that?
I think about 8.
Okay, so we got somebody going for that Rock and Rager Cup there. Your favorite night for the wrestling, or some of the guys that you enjoyed watching, your favorite matches?
I didn't watch much of the matches because I've been just doing wrestling stuff, so I was there for like the music.
Okay, very, very cool. So, do you have a lot of the wrestlers come in and mingle during the music and the bands and all that?
Yes, they a lot of them, like the last night with Guardians of the Jukebox, a lot of them were there just dancing with the music, and the show was amazing.
So I imagine that last night's kind of like a big blow off, and everybody get together and just have one big last hurrah there.
Yep, like last year I was watching Guardians of the Jukebox and I was dancing next to CJ Perry.
Oh,
very nice.
Very nice. Very nice, as a matter of fact. Was CJ Perry there this time, or not at all?
I don't remember seeing her, but I think she was, because they had a theme night of CJ's pajama party.
Oh, a pajama party. Oh, is there tiers actually, Scott, with the cruise, like in terms of paying? Like,
no, it's just you pay for like the room. Like I get a handicap accessible room.
Oh, cool. Okay, all right. And like, is it expensive? Like, what's the price range thereabouts?
You can spend as low as like $450, but your room is really small.
Wow, $450 is actually not bad. But like you said, you probably get a real tiny room. But still, $450 for the experience. And I'm sure like the wrestlers are all accessible, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but how much? It's not like you're spending a lot of time in a room. You know, you're going to be out and about on the cruise,
right?
You know, trying to get in as much of the activities that you got. Scotty, you're. I guess let me flip this. We'll end this conversation, this portion of the conversation, on a high note. You've been here 6 years. Any suggestions that you would give to Mr. Jericho and his team to improve the experience?
Actually, they've listened to my.
Really? So they do. They're encouraging the feedback and listening to you guys.
Yes. Like one year they got all the handicap people together and asked us how we would do the picture things better.
Okay, well, explain this to us. We have no idea what you're talking about, brother.
Like they have like, you get time for doing pictures with legends and.
Okay, yeah. So you come through. Okay, so there's a few different ways. Let me ask you, so I can paint this picture there for those that are listening. Look at that, man. Two buff studs there. Ripping
you some Steiner math?
Yeah. So when you buy your ticket, because there's a different way that these conventions work. So you buy your ticket that gets you your room. You said you took that high level package that includes, your food, your drink, you're covered to go when you get on the boat. You're having a great time. Now, is it all inclusive with those pictures, or when you go in there, do you have to buy different tickets? Like, did you have to pay separately to get a photo in that meeting opportunity with Scott Steiner, or is it?
Yeah, I had to pay $100 for Scott Steiner.
Okay, so they do have the different talents there where you pay to get those meet and greets.
It was him and Justin Thunder Liger, which were the ones they had to pay for.
Was Justin Thunder Liger there?
Yes.
Okay,
awesome.
so then everybody else, if you happen to see Turbo and Magnum there from the Outrunners, or are they at a table, or is it just them? Right. So the meet and greets, how many people are involved with those?
There's a lot of like they have like the pictures, and then they have the signings where they sign posters and all that. Okay. I did not do any of the signing of the posters. Since I wasn't feeling all that great on the cruise, I did things limitedly.
Okay. I wonder who was the idiot that came on board with freaking, with the coof. And don't be afraid to cough, Scott, by the way, man. If you need to cough, man. Don't hold it in.
You don't realize that you have it there. You're going to run that risk, Jimmy. And you've got 3,000 people with crew on those cruise liners,
I know,
man, and you're in those tight spots.
And the person may not have any of the symptoms either.
Right.
That's true. I had it a few years ago, like when it first outbroke. You know what I mean? When it was a thing, but I've never caught it since that time, which was what now, like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was. But it's a weird thing, man. I mean, have you had a Rick before? Have you ever?
Not that I actually know. Looking back, I believe I had it before we knew it was a thing.
You'll know, man. It's a dirty feeling, dude. I can't. Actually, I was on a show with you when I caught it. It was you and Jargo, and I remember I was starting. I think it was the last Hitting the Mark show, the very last Hitting the Mark show. That's when I actually got sick. I didn't know it yet, but after I got off the show with you guys, I ended up having friggin' the koof. I don't want to say the actual word because they can kick us off on YouTube just for saying it, man. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so I'm going to call it the
one of
koof.
those strikes. Okay, I'm glad you said that then. But I think I had it like back in 2019 before like it was really known to the public what it was because I had all of those symptoms. Been able to avoid it. Lab Rat with a pop of the day over in the chat. We're talking about. Plus, it's a wrestling cruise. How many of those fans are taking a bath? Scotty, let's try to debunk this rumor because those that haven't been on the cruise. That's the main knock, man. That the aromas might not be as pleasant. that the hygiene might not be up to par. Is this an unfair judgment of the loyal fans of the Jericho Cruise?
Actually, I never encountered where someone was smelling that bad.
Really?
All right, so everybody is taking care of themselves for the most part. For the most part, we'll say that. All right, brother. Well, I want to know maybe share from this year and all time some of your favorite memories from going on the Jericho cruises.
Well, I was happy to meet Bobby Lashley. He's a gentleman.
Very cool. That would be awesome.
He asked me a couple times if I needed help being pushed around. I'm like, no, I'm good.
No shit.
Really?
That's awesome, man.
Dude, I just think I would have taken him up on that.
Yeah, I would have been like, yeah. No worries, go for it.
I didn't want to bother him and his wife, so.
Oh, he was there with his wife?
I don't know, man. After he asked multiple times, I'm like, you know what, Almighty, give me a push, dude.
Yeah.
We're going to the front. We're going to the front. We're going to the hibachi, Bobby. Come on.
I know. Even if he's just being nice, if he's offering, by God, you let him do it, man. I'm fucking with you, though, Scotty. Don't worry.
Outrunners.
Yeah.
Meet the Outrunners.
Yep, I met the Outrunners last year, which is pretty cool.
I was going to say, Lashley's not with, what was her name? Was it something Marshall? Christy Marshall, whatever her name was, his first wife?
No.
He's not with her anymore, right?
No. That
Okay, it's a different one.
Long time ago. Yeah, the Outrunners are just very, very cool, down to earth dudes. When I started promoting and booking, they did a bunch of shows for us. They worked almost every show for the first year that I promoted. They're just down in Louisville, and old host here, former host on HMG, and still a great friend of our product, our platform. Ted McNair, Man Beast, he hooked me up with them down there through his OVW connection. So they've come up and worked some shows for us. Very cool picture I've got over on my social media of the Outrunners grabbing hold of Ben's beard as they were working our Swiss Wine Festival show, which is it was kind of cool for those guys to catch up. A little bit, that I got to bring them back together to work show. The biggest regrets that I had promoting though is I had those guys together on the same show. And I didn't book Ben and damn it, why who's his tag team partner, the big monster dude from TNA?
Oh my God. Is it Fala?
No. Damn it.
Awesome, I know who you're talking about. He's got the fuzzy hair sort of thing. Oh man, I forgot his name.
Myself for this one. Anyway, the Towers of Terror. I had those guys. I should have booked them against the Outrunners. but I had him working different matches. Congo Kong. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Lab Brat. That's exactly who it is.
Congo is, dude, one of the just downright, man, just awesome people that you're going to meet, man. He flips that switch, though, and he turns into that savage. And even when he's going through that curtain, you're standing next to him, you feel it. Like, you feel that energy, man, and it just projects to that audience. People, they're getting the hell out of the way, man. It was awesome to have all those guys together on a show. And I can't believe it was one of my biggest regrets. And even afterwards, Ben's like, well, you're the dumbass that didn't do it. So, but it was still a good show, getting everybody involved there. So, yeah, had the Outrunners before they were blowing up, going worldwide. Those guys are something special. And they are just scratching the surface on how great they can be. And hopefully they get those opportunities inside All Elite Wrestling.
I think they'll get their opportunities at WWE once they are done with AEW.
I hope so, actually. I really do hope so, because if TK doesn't push him to the moon anytime soon, by all means, go to WWE, because I bet they'll have a better run there, man. They are for freaking good, man. I mean, they've been grinding for many years, too.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what opportunities come their way, and hopefully sooner than later they really get that good push there under Tony Khan, and maybe eventually make their way to the E and shine on that brightest and biggest stage of them all. Well, gentlemen, speaking of WWE, I think it might be a good time if you want to transition into the reason that we're here. And of course, that is
we're not talking Snack Attack. It's not RBV Eats.
Hey, we got a little of that in there. We're talking about the hibachi grill,
Yeah.
the Snack Attack, baby. You know what that's all about. Hey, speaking, I'm gearing up here. I was doing some prep work this morning on it for Cincinnati Chili Week. And even that's listen to me on any of those shows, man. You know how proud I am of my hashtag Cincy style, hashtag God's Chili.
Cincy.
Yeah. Oh, Jimmy, it's something unique, man. I'll have to send you some down under, man. It's a.
I wish, man. But would the food be all right by the time it reaches down under?
It's all canned. It's a can. Good.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Canned. Oh, absolutely. If you do that, I'll send you some good old Aussie tucker, like they call it here.
Kangaroo meat.
If you want kangaroo meat, apparently it's a thing down here. Personally, I don't fucking touch it, right? But apparently, you know what else is a thing, dude? I'll give you a fun fact about Australia, which no one really realizes. But you don't associate Australia with camels, right? You just don't. But Australia has the largest amount of wild camels in the world. Not in the Arab countries, but Australia in the desert. I kid you not. And you can make a lot of money by actually shooting him. I don't eat dingo, Zane. That's a dog. Dingos, I don't eat dog.
I know Pierce, he was saying he loves that kangaroo.
Yeah, Pierce is a true blue friggin', true blue Australian kangaroo, man. He loves it.
And you guys are having overabundance of running wild camel toes.
I kid you not, man. As a matter of fact, the government pays you to actually shoot them because they've become a pest, man. They're like a invasive species down here. I kid you not, man. You see look it up. You see helicopters with machine guns, like literally mounted on it, shooting them all down, dude. I kid you not, man.
Lab Rat, bringing the thunder here today. Hey, Jimmy T, just wait till the kangaroos learn how to ride the camels. You're gonna have an uprising.
Oh no, dude! Kangaroos are scary, man. I'm telling you, I've had some weird friggin'. The thing about kangaroos, the more
it'd be like Planet of the Apes, but with kangaroos.
Dude, I thought they were aliens once, not too long ago. And I've mentioned this a million times on numerous shows, but I'll tell you, well, both of you, because you probably don't know. But one, it was about 2 a.m, and I wanted to get an energy drink, man. I think I was about to do the wreckage, as a matter of fact. So I went to the gas station to get an energy drink, right? But I didn't drive there. I just rode my bike, and I'm riding, and no shit, man. Now picture this: like 2 a.m. Suddenly I get to like a street, and I'm crossing the road, right? I see these 3 fucking big motherfuckers, dude, just sitting there waiting to cross the road. It looked like, dude. But at first I didn't think they were kangaroos. You know what I mean? So I'm literally like sneaking up on these fucks, And I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like, are they fucking, what are these? Because, dude, they're tall, man. They're huge, like, huge. And these three were all big, man. And I just snuck up right behind them, but they weren't moving, man. And I'm thinking, how the fuck am I going to get around them? But more importantly, how the fuck am I going to turn around? Because if I make any sort of sound, that's it, man. They could just turn around and start kicking the shit out of you, man. For real. And they punch. All right? They don't fuck around, dude. They bounce on their tail. They literally stand on their tail and just bang, bang. Like, it's crazy. But anyway, man, they weren't moving. Thank God. They just suddenly just kicked in. And they fucking just started bouncing, man, onto the road. I've seen cops shoot them around here, dude. But they're rare. You don't really see, because I'm in the city areas, right? But because we keep building on their fucking, in their space, you're starting to see them in the cities, like literally coming into the city, which is not good, man. But I haven't seen them in a while, but that's a true story. I shat bricks, dude. It was that bad. But at 2 a.m, it's a bit of a shock. But kangaroos, they're violent, man. They're vicious too. No shit.
That's good. That is good stuff. Well, gentlemen, let's use our kangaroo conversation and hop right on over to this week's edition of WWE SmackDown. Of course, this is the Valentine's Day edition.
You wouldn't have known, really, except for the, when they were doing the sign, the sign segment, you know what I mean, who has the best signs. They didn't really mention that it was Valentine's Day throughout the show, though.
You know what? And I didn't really register that while I was watching. But you think how big they are usually with holidays to really emphasize those theme shows or give us some kind of fun gimmick match. But yeah, no mention of it outside of
gimmick match, nothing.
Your favorite fan signs. And believe me, when we dive into this thing, it could have used this episode could have used a little sugar and spice and everything nice
everything nice, absolutely. But we didn't, man. No spice, no sugar. I mean, I'm sorry to say, but Cha-Cha, what the hell was she wearing?
We'll get to that. They were WWE SmackDown coming to the world live on the USA Network from the nation's capital here in the USA, Washington, D.C. They had, was it 30? We got the stat here. That seems
13,000, I think.
No, it wasn't that high. I think it was like 1336. For the arena, 1336 in live attendance there. Yeah, 13,036. We get the coming into the show. Hey, what more do you need? We're on the road to WrestleMania. Everybody's excited about that. The hottest time of the year for professional wrestling. That's that long-term goal. WrestleMania is still a few weeks out. We are right around the corner. We continue the build, the hype for the Elimination Chamber event, but more specifically for tonight's SmackDown Showdown. 2 big matches being hyped. And, of course, we have Wade Barrett welcoming us in here as he puts over these 2 epic showdowns that we have got coming at you. One featuring Tiffy Time, the WWE Women's Champion, putting her title on the line against the former champion, Nia Jax, one of our 2 big main events. And we've also got another qualifier for the Men's Chamber as we see a big-time triple threat with Jacob Fatu taking on Damian Priest, taking on one big SOB in Braun Strowman. We get Barrett with that hype. We cut to the arena, and hey, what do you know? We've got a special guest. We don't have our regular commentary team. We got a little bit, maybe a little Valentine's Day reunion there from the NXT boys. Vic Joseph is going to be on the call with Wade Barrett. Scotty, I ask you here, going in to this special Valentine's Day edition, where we didn't get very much Valentine's Day at all, but our 2 big matches I just talked about there for our main event, did they excite you? Were you looking forward
I was looking forward to the main event.
Throwdowns. To the big triple threat.
Yes, because I'm a big Jacob Fatu fan.
He's the real deal.
I think I know, Jimmy. You're very, very high on his potential.
Jacob Fatu, man. I've been a fan of his for years now, but I'm just glad he's finally getting his flowers.
Yeah, getting a great opportunity to shine here. Of course, we'll get to that main event. A lot of people were going to see what he could do, and we're very excited about the possibility of him getting a chance to shine with some big-time names inside of that chamber. Of course, we got our announced team welcomes everybody, the home audience, into the arena, and we get Mr. Cody Rhodes. So what do you want to talk about? He's going to open the show here for us tonight. Cody's going to get the one-time interruption from Drew, who comes out. And, of course, as we just talked about Fatu, he's going to make his first appearance. Gentlemen, this segment here, we'll break it down. Out of the gate, again, another shining example of what I have been just harping on for weeks. We talked about it last week, Jimmy, me and you, on the Super Bowl edition here of the Smack Attack. I talked about it in great length with Ben on Monday. If you haven't heard that yet, it's available over on Channel Attitude.
Great show.
Ben just went to the next level. I proposed to him, how can we reimagine how pro wrestling is presented on television in 2025? It needs a complete makeover. We've been doing the same dog and pony show really for me since the Attitude Era. But the problem is back then they used to get it right. Now they're completely missing, what Russo had laid out back then. And it's so, it's everywhere from television to movies. You come out in that opening act and you set a stage for the evening. And there's a multitude of different emotions and styles that you can employ, those strategies. But WWE seems to, they're stuck in this mode where they run a baby face out there to simply pander to the audience. And it's not energizing. They're not exciting anyone, especially to get invested in what's going to unfold for the rest of the evening here. As Ben was saying, there's that theory that you want to come out, you use the villain, you use the heel to make the baby. So if you're going to go that route.
Right.
You can also, what we see that AEW uses so much is just get to some action. Let's get that crowd hyped up. They might, they push their envelope going a little too long, but they're giving you something to get excited about. You're there for some wrestling. So either get us invested in a story that's running a theme throughout the evening, or get us right to the action. This opening segment here with Cody, he's out there talking about the chamber. He's trying to put that over. He's talking about last week being jumped by Solo. Here comes Drew McIntyre, one of the most entertaining guys in the company.
For sure.
Usually adds a lot to whatever's going on. He does absolutely nothing here. He added nothing to this segment. Then you bring out Fatu. Necessarily, we don't need him here. His priority for the evening should be focused solely on his mission that he's already made clear of getting into the chamber, winning the chamber, and bringing the championship back to the Samoan dynasty. That's where his focus should be. Instead of taking 20 minutes here and leaving a crowd in the arena and a home audience absolutely flat.
Yeah, but you know what's funny about this segment too? And you touch on Cody. Man, everyone was chanting for Jacob Fatu on top of that. The fans really are really getting behind him now, man. I don't know if that's a really a good thing and if WWE even expected that in many ways. Because once they let him talk, that was it. The fans started getting behind him, man, because when he does get on the mic, he's believable. He's very good at it, man, as well. The way he talks, he means business. And I just feel he's starting to outshine guys like Cody. You know what I mean? A little bit, man. They just got to be careful the way they tread. But, the main event was kind of obvious of how it was going to go. But we'll talk about that when we get there. But nevertheless, I mean, what do you do with Jacob Fatu moving forward, though? Guys,
They did. We do get a little bit of a story unfold here. Scott, real quick, are you a fan of these long-winded, just drawn out openings that we're getting, not just week after week, but episode after episode with WWE, no matter what brand it is?
No, they're too long. They need to be like 10 minutes. That's They can do everything in 10 minutes.
I would have cut this entire thing. We didn't need Cody on this episode at all until the main event. And save that pop there for him. Maybe do something with him in a quick vignette where, he's watching from the trailer, or he's anticipating, looking for Solo to enter the building, something along those lines. But we don't need this 20-minute here. Drew McIntyre adds nothing to this. We get a little bit of foreshadowing with.
Let me clap back about the Drew McIntyre not being there. It was there to tease him and Jacob too for later on.
But Jimmy drop out there. Can you hear me, Scotty?
Yes.
Okay. We'll wait for Jimmy to come back. I repeat what you said there. I'm sorry.
I was saying that he was out there to tease him versus Jacob later down on the line sometime later.
With Cody?
No, with Jacob.
Yeah. Because Cody's, he obviously, he wants some answers. He wants some revenge after he was blindsided last week. But also, since Solo's just disappeared, Fatu, he pretty much says, hey, I'm going to get to Solo first because I've got some questions. All of those things can be presented to the audience. We can enter into those stories without going 20 minutes in an open where you drain all the energy from the building and your home audience. That's the issue with it.
Like I said, you could have done all this in 10 minutes with the same people.
Well, I completely cut the Drew thing because that added like an extra 5 minutes out of nowhere that did absolutely nothing. And I guess, what you think you're popping a shove by teasing a potential here between Drew and Fatu at some point. I'm not buying that. These babies
got me excited to want to see that match.
But there's other ways about presenting those two together. And when are we going to see that? That doesn't, and Drew has done this thing, which I think is great, where everybody's an enemy. And at any point we could see him face off with somebody. We see him later on. Let's go ahead and talk about it now. We see him later on in the show have an interaction, and we got a match announcement for next week with him and Jimmy Uso. So
I'm surprised they just didn't say Big Jim Uso.
Big Jim. He's got Big Jim next week. So again, they're trying, and this is a running theme throughout the show, and I'm going to talk about it a couple times. They're trying to squeeze the lemon too hard right now. Instead of let us savoring each and every drop that's coming out of this thing. They're just trying to do too much too quickly. And when they're overextending their segments where they're just draining. And again, I think a lot of this goes back to, not to beat a dead horse here, because so many of the fans for years have been expressing their displeasure with it. And it is so difficult to book a 3-hour wrestling show.
And that is very true. It should have been just a 2-hour show.
Yeah. And I guess that Triple H has been promising that they will go back to that. I guess in June, it's supposed to return to a 2-hour show. So I'm looking forward to. Here's a comparison that I make for it. So, if it's Triple H and his team are back there, I think, a lot of us have been there. I'm sure a lot of over in the chat have been here. All right, Lad Rat popping me over there, man. It's Black History Month, so you got to give Cody some extra time. They even made mention of Black History Month. I'm not going to harp on that here. We got no Valentine's Day mention, no Black History Month on the programming. But this really reminds me, and this is where I feel for the creative team here for WWE. This is like going back to school, high school, college, whatever the case might be. You've been given an assignment. You got to write a term paper, whatever it is, man. But you sit down at that keyboard, you're typing away, you are feeling it, man. You are rocking that topic, cranking it out, man. And this is an A+ paper. We are hitting on all cylinders. Teacher's gonna love this thing. And then you get done and you realize it's only 2 pages that you typed out. And the assignment says it has to be 3 pages. So what do? You go back, you start finagling the spacing, you start playing with the font, you start putting fluff in each of the paragraphs to make sure that you can extend it to that extra page. By the time you get it, man, you have killed your masterpiece of an assignment that you planned on handing in there. And now you got complete garbage. You just went from maybe a B plus and A minus, and you're looking at a C minus now. That's what I compare it to, and where I feel for the creative teams.
Oh no, definitely see that point of view, because 3 hours is way too much to be watching on Friday night.
Yeah, well, Lab Rat saying the shows are all entrances and promos, 4 matches long. Then we count the matches. I guess we'll look at those as we get through the review here. Hey, I know that Ben used to have it. We used to have for the AEW Wednesday night watch-alongs. Those were so much fun, but we had the title counts. How many belts were on each AEW show? I want to start something here for the smackATTACK. How many microphones are shown during the show? Everybody. They just have like a wheelbarrow of microphones back at Gorilla because everybody walked out had a damn microphone, it seemed. And again, it gets repetitive. You're not mixing it up. There were a few promos, mic time, that I thought were really good on this show because they were presented in a different light, different settings. We're going to talk about Sami Zayn, KO, and the Profits as we get going. Hopefully, Jimmy T is able to get back with us. He hasn't sent me a message, but we will keep rolling here with your SmackDown review. Let me pull my notes back up. But we do have, we got the big match announcements. We do have our open there involving the big question is people want answers from Solo. So 20 minutes, that's where we're at. This has to stop. Either come out short and sweet to the point, set up your running theme throughout the evening, or jump into the action. We do open up our action. We come back from break there, and we have got Naomi and Bianca Belair in the ring. It's going to be Naomi. She's going to be taking on Chelsea, the Chelsea Green. She's making her awesome entrance. This is going to be a women's elimination chamber qualifier. I got to say, I absolutely love Piper Niven in the Secret Service attire. I love the whole USA gimmick for the USA champ with Chelsea Green as the presidential treatment. Again, this past week on the Monday Locker Room, Ben and I laid out some awesome plans that they could really take over. She appoints some cabinet members, pretty much just mirrors what we see going on with the Trump administration right now that has some people loving it and some people very, very hot. The match itself here, Naomi comes out. She is looking good. That glow is shining from the get-go, as I thought she would. But I was absolutely surprised by this finish. I don't know how they continue to just leave out and miss on Chelsea Green. She could have gone in there and stole the show inside of the Elimination Chamber. Been one of those that we were talking about big time after. But Chelsea eats the pin, and we are going to see both of our women's tag team champions, Bianca Belair and Naomi, inside of the chamber. Jimmy T, you are back.
My computer decided to update out of nowhere, hence why I got kicked out. So sorry about that.
Hey, you're all right. Well, hey, we're going to throw you right back into it here, baby. We were talking about our opening match, Chelsea Green versus Naomi, women's elimination qualifier. What'd you think, brother?
I mean, it wasn't the greatest match, you know what I mean? But it doesn't matter because just seeing Chelsea Green, I mean, Jesus Christ, she looks like $1 million every time she's in that ring. Just her body is just immaculate. But you know what? It was just a normal TV type of match between these two. Chelsea Green, of course, gets the win.
No, she lost.
Oh, wait, did she lose?
Yeah, Naomi got the win.
Oh, she did too. See, I wasn't exactly paying attention to the whole match, you know what I mean? But I was watching it, but I didn't think she lost. That's what's weird. But why did she lose? Was it by a clean finish?
Yeah. She was just put down.
It wasn't even for a championship? It was just a normal match?
No, it was the title not on the line. I don't know if she's defended that thing yet. But no, this was a qualifier for Elimination Chamber. So we have both of the women's tag champs involved in that match now.
It was. You're spot on, man. You're spot on. Like I said, man, this match tends to give me the power of the phone at times, man. You know what I'm saying? And when the match is just... Look, 3 hours of SmackDown could be a slog. I think we were saying this off the air yesterday, you and I talking about it. It's, they got it like you mentioned about Russo and the way he used to do things, right? they need a pace. The pace of SmackDown is just not like even Raw. At least with Raw, 3 hours, when it's good, it starts to breathe. SmackDown just feels like it's too long for a show like SmackDown. But nevertheless, Naomi gets to win. Why? Does it really even matter at this point? She's not going to win Elimination Chamber, that's for sure. And really, Chelsea doesn't even need to be in that matchup anyway.
Well, I think, we'll get to your thoughts on the match here real quick. So I want to just a little rebuttal here. I think Chelsea absolutely needs to be inside Elimination Chamber. It is a marquee match that on, your go home premium live to WrestleMania. This is where you're really going to see the storyline start to unfold. And she is hands down one of the best performers on their roster right now. Just as we were talking about Harley Cameron a little bit ago, how versatile she is. And it shows that you don't have to go out there and over bump and exert and put your body on the line. It's about that character work. And Chelsea absolutely gets that. It is a heel. She is absolutely over. Could be the top, not just female, one of the top heels in that company if given the opportunity. I'm thinking maybe I'll try to rationalize it instead of just saying a complete miss, that they're thinking, she is so good in that fashion that she doesn't necessarily need wins. Just like you're saying, maybe doesn't need that match. I don't think Chelsea needs those. I think those moments, matches like that, need her.
You really think that?
Yeah, I firmly believe
think that too, because her facial expressions when she doesn't get the pin are fantastic, and then her selling is great.
I love that point there, Scotty, because you talk about the chamber. They talk about how you hear this regularly. It's one of the most diabolical structures ever designed to ever enter the world of professional wrestling. Put Chelsea in there in some of those moments, and what she could sell would be absolutely epic. That's highlight footage for years to come.
No doubt about it. But the thing is, do you think she would have suited being in the actual Elimination Chamber match as the Women's United States Champion? And if she was in the matchup, would have you had her even going for a World Championship?
I think you have that conversation. I mean, what's wrong with having a champion versus champion, try to spice something up on that undercard? It's worth having a conversation. Now, I do, instead of just running through segment by segment, because this show kind of jumped around. There was things going on all over, which was you couldn't really enjoy or digest what you had seen. So I do. Let's talk about this now, because it involves these women. It involves the women's division. We do see it later on in hour 3, where Mr. Nick Aldis, the general manager, calls in the 2 qualifiers for the Elimination Chamber, Belair and Naomi. And he has got some footage sent to him revealing who attacked their good friend and partner, Jade Cargill. That apparently he doesn't know who sent this, don't know where it came from, was shot on a phone. But we see Raquel and Liv exiting the scene as Jade is being put into that ambulance. So now, in addition to maybe, I guess, the intrigue of having both women's tag team champions in the chamber, what happens if they got to throw down with one another? Now they have got some foes that are also involved. I'm looking at Liv. Liv is in the chamber. There is still one more spot to be determined. I guess they'll probably do that match on Raw. Maybe it makes sense that we see Raquel get entered into that match, where you begin to set up, and maybe you think you're adding some higher stakes to a women's tag match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Raquel, though. That's the thing. I don't really care for it that much, but I still don't think it was Liv Morgan or Raquel that actually attacked Jade Cargill. Just quietly. I don't think that's even evidence. They were off to the side. They weren't even looking towards the ambulance at the time.
They're at the scene, man. They're at the scene.
Yeah, they're far. It's very circumstantial, though, evidence, in my opinion. I still think that Naomi is possibly the one that actually attacked her, only because when you look at that segment, you notice Naomi seemed to be, I don't want to say nervous, but anxious even, like looking at the video. We know it's not Belair because Belair was in the ring when that happened, so we can scrub her out. I still think Naomi has something to do with this, and I don't believe, because what's the reason behind Liv and Raquel actually attacking Jade Cargill? Really? They're not even on the same brand.
Cold-hearted bitches. They're doing whatever they want. They're doing whatever they want.
It is definitely a swerve.
Yeah, like, what do you think, Scott? Like, do you think
It's a swerve. It's because, as you said, Naomi looked kind of anxious when she started showing it because she was really looking up close.
Hey, she was the one that very quickly was like, we knew it was them. Very quick to point the finger.
Exactly.
I think we do get some kind of swerve in the storyline here, but of course they're trying to set up some intrigue going into the chamber. So again, we got both tag team champs in there. We've got Liv in there. We still have another entrant to be named, which I assume will be coming at us Monday. Could be Raquel. We'll have to see. But gentlemen, I do, as your guys are talking about the possibilities of where this storyline heads. But obviously, I think this is a match we're getting for WrestleMania. We are going to have the women's tag team titles on the line with Belair and Naomi versus Liv and Raquel. I know a lot of fans out there a little upset if that is the best use for Liv, as she was the best work of her career was when she was the women's champ. And, the program there involving Dirty Dom and Rhea, by far her best work. I'm going to say here, we're going to go back. We're going to revisit the past. And we got a big tie-in here. Like Rikishi did it for The Rock. It's going to be Tamina. Tamina did it for the family that Naomi is married into to tie in the Samoans here.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yes, because we haven't seen any of the ladies introduced into anything with the bloodline. So I'm going to go with Tamina, and it was all mastermind by Rikishi, who got Tamina to do that for his daughter-in-law so that she could have that spot that was owed to her and not Jade Cargill to team with Belair and shine as a tag team champion. What do we got there, Jimmy, from Dark Side?
Well, Dark Side Caster says, Jimmy, this is WWE creative at work here. They can come up with some candy cane excuse on why Liv and Raquel were the ones to make the marks believe they did it. That's true. But again, it's circumstantial to me, man, if it was actually them. And really, even with Aldous bringing that information and so-called evidence, it was all really for nothing. It didn't really give us anything other than they were around, but we still don't exactly know who did it, why they did it. I don't know. Like I said, I smell something fishy when it comes with Naomi still, because like I was saying earlier, she looked anxious. She was very eager as well. I just still think it's her. I still think we're going to get a swerve. It's too easy to just say it was Liv and Raquel.
I don't know,
lazy, in my opinion.
Before you're accused of being a homophobe, and now you're calling the women's division, say they smell fishy. I don't know about you, brother. Well, guys, hey, we're going to find out. It seems like that's going to be one of the stories that we're getting here on the road to WrestleMania.
Hey,
we were talking about a lot of mic time on the show. That's going to be a running theme here through today's Smack Attack. Up next, this is a promo here that I actually enjoyed. Loved a lot what was said here. We go to Sami Zayn, who has shared this via X. I think what stands out about this is we're not in the ring. We are in a different setting. We're doing something a little different. We're cross-promoting with our social media. Sami gives us an update on his status after that devastating package pile driver that he suffered the hands of his supposed brother from another mother, Kevin Owens. Sami says still not cleared. He is recovering. Doesn't know how long he is going to be on the shelf, but this time it hit different. And I really like that he acknowledged, what a lot of fans are going to talk about. And it's going to be the knock that a potential program between these two get. It's KO and Sami again. He acknowledges that. And he puts over. This time it hits a little deeper. This time it's a little bit different. which lets you know that maybe they've got something special in the works here. Let's go ahead and package these things together, guys. Later on in the show, we get a response. Kevin Owens has heard this. He takes to social media. Again, I love this. They're integrating. We got those wheels going. We're working. We're cross-promoting here. We have got our seemingly real-time social media use, because as you're watching, you're scrolling, you're on the X. Hey, make sure that you're checking out all the platforms. Kevin Owens responds here. You know, he's still hurt. He still feels ultimately betrayed by Sami. And yes, this is bigger. This does cut deeper than any other, previous, arguments, conflicts, whatever you will. He challenges Sami, no matter what, cleared or not, to go back to where it all started, meet him at Elimination Chamber in Canada, Toronto, to settle this thing. And KO seems like he is set to end it once and for all. Scotty, I'll start with you, man. What'd you think of these two promos from these two old foes, friends and foes?
I thought it was really good, but I'm just not sure I'm interested in another match between them, just because I've seen so many times. That just may be me. So
I get that, though. Oh, so a lot of fans, even over here in the chat, Darkside asking, deeper than all the Ring of Honor and NXT stuff? Yeah, I mean, right now, I get that, but you have to present what's in the now as the biggest stakes. And last week, Jimmy and I had a great conversation laying this thing out. What is bigger and better than anything that they've ever done? It has to end at WrestleMania with a career versus career match.
Yeah, but unfortunately, well, they've booked it for Elimination Chamber, which makes sense.
They didn't book anything. We just got a challenge. Sami's probably not going to be cleared. You could kick things off there. You could have KO come in and seemingly do all the damage. Go like we're worried about if Sami is dead at Elimination Chamber with whoever KO does to him. And then Sami drags his almost lifeless body out there the next night on Raw, because I'm sure they're going to still be in that area, right? They'll be somewhere in Canada in the vicinity.
So
they're still going to get that big pop. And at that point, Sami says, hey, you damn near took almost everything away from me last night. I'm not having this. Let's do it at Mania. Let's put careers on the line.
Dude, your idea was the best idea, though, man. Like when you mentioned I'm pretty sure it was you when you mentioned about El Generico and going into that storyline somehow. If, for example, if they do have a career versus career match, which I'm down for, and Sami Zayn is the one that actually loses, but he makes his way back as El Generico, that would be brilliant. But it almost sounds too good to be true there, Rick. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, oh man, that writes itself, right? I mean, the way you laid it out absolutely wrote itself. To the point where I started believing that's where they're going. They're going to go that way, surely. But, they probably won't go that way, unfortunately, because they're just idiots and they don't see it. But they should. They really should go that way. You know what I mean? But do you really think it's going to stretch from Elimination Chamber onto WrestleMania even?
Well, we've got a lot of time till WrestleMania, so I think you kick it off. You kick it off at the Chamber, and then that's where you set into motion this career, the ultimate stakes inside of pro wrestling. Now, Labright does have a good point. Again, you got to make the commitment to keep these two separate here for a while, so it isn't by SummerSlam these guys are competing for the tag team titles again.
Right.
So Scotty, is there anything that you could see, and you really represent a good voice for the majority of the fans out there? What could they do to make you care again about KO versus Sami?
I don't know if they can. That's the problem, because
it's hard.
We've seen them go against each other so many times where Kevin turns on Sami, Sami turns on Kevin, and each time's apparently it's the worst thing they've done. But it's the same story. It's
probably
just with a little different instead of Sprite and Coke or Sprite and Jack Daniels, it's Jack Daniels and a shot of vodka after.
Ooh, to be tangy. that combination. But yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. And I kind of agree with you, actually, Scott, in many ways, because we have seen it a million times, especially if you followed their careers, obviously, throughout back in the day in Ring of Honor, and then, onto, WWE. We've seen this absolutely a bazillion times. But like the way Rick laid it out, if they went that way, it would make things a whole lot more interesting. As a matter of fact, I got invested at what Rick was saying because that's a way to freshen things up a little bit, right? Instead of doing the same old shtick, year in, year out with these two. Because at the end of the day, they're best friends. We all know they're best friends. But how do they come back from that every time? Do you know what I mean? And pretend like that shit never happened, pretty much.
Actually, let me give you an idea to make this really good.
Please.
So, Elimination Chamber, Kevin Owens gets Sammy and just does like 3 times the package pile driver.
Straight off the bat, as soon as the bell rings, bang.
No, he just attacks him while he's getting into the arena. It's not Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. Because Sami Zayn doesn't remember who he is. He's still Generico.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you could get back to the El Generico, you can move some merch. You're going to get that return, that nostalgia pop for all those fans in attendance.
But you don't have to do the career versus career thing because that's just.
Well, at that point, if it's El Generico, it doesn't make sense to do that.
Right, exactly. Because why would he come back as Generico for just because? That doesn't make sense. It looks dorky.
If you're going straight Sammy versus KO, you need the ultimate stakes, and there is no bigger than a career versus career that tops a title match and all that. And I know I'm going to get from the smarts. Well, they always just come back. You got to live in the story, in the moment for the story, and then you explain why they return later on. So if you're going with straight up how it is presented, their characters right now, it makes sense for those ultimate stakes. I'm not opposed to just go ahead and shotgunning the return of El Generico, but I think we all agree. I think everybody agrees. If you are going this route again, going to revisit good friends, better foes, then you have got to come up with something unique to shake it up, to hook an audience, or again, it's just going to be a popcorn match because we've been there and done that. Gentlemen, up next on the show here, and I'm going to package these things together because there's a few talking points. We get the Motor City Machine Guns. They are taking on Los Garza. So we got our men's tag team division representing here. Guys, I want to open this up a little bit deeper conversation to talk about the state of the WWE men's tag team division. So real quick here. So we have the Machine Guns, former champs, looking to get back in that hunt. They want those titles back from DIY. Later in the show, we do see another magnificent promo here from the Street Profits. They are not just bringing that smoke, they are bringing the fire. And I'll tell you what works with it is, again, we're not getting the same old. We're getting in a new environment. They have a great setting. They're talking with passion. They're not trying to interact with an audience that is either going to try to do their own thing or who is talked out from the in-ring segments. It's something unique. It's energizing here. Looks great for the Profits. But what do they do then? Transition right to the backstage. A little bit different setting, but these backstage interviews with WWE, they're just as god-awful as what we get in the ring. We get Pretty Deadly. Starts talking with Saxton, and they are interrupted by DIY. DIY, where Gargano is cutting stupid ass jokks about they got him with their pants down because he wears.
He wasn't wrong. He's like, he goes, I wasn't wearing pants. He goes, actually, you're wearing pants. He goes, oh, you're right, but I don't wrestle with pants usually. I know it was stupid. It was a stupid back and forth. It was more comedic.
Ciampa tries to save it by bringing some intensity to it, but it's already lost here. You guys, for all the credit that's fair or unfair that Triple H is receiving right now, it seems to be the same old song and dance where not a lot of tension interest revolving around the tag division here on either of the brands, but especially on SmackDown.
Yes, boy.
Yeah.
It's true. It's actually true. The tag team division in WWE on both brands is the drizzling shits right now. Hopefully the Street Profits can save that. And I just wanted to mention, Dawkins was the one that actually impressed me in that little vignette. Because Dawkins usually is just he usually can't talk well, first of all.
Well, the one he cut last week was more Dawkins, and he did a great job. And when given an opportunity, Cincinnati boys will shine, man. And he definitely...
He's improved, man, tenfold. You know what I mean? I just wanted to point that out. And Montez is Montez, man. He's just, he's on another level. But back to the tag division. I mean, how do you try to save this right now? Do you bring in more credible tag teams? I mean, there's a lot of smaller teams in this division, man.
I think that might be an issue. When I look at this thing, there is some athleticism. Is there enough charisma? Is there enough star power inside of those tag divisions? Looking at on the other side of the fence there over at AEW, one of the things I am interested there is their tag division is because who's on top of it.
Right.
Scott was talking about one of the nicest guys in the world, but he's an intimidating son of a bitch. And you got that gifted athlete in Shelton Benjamin, and you got the mouthpiece with MVP. As a collective, man, they have got it all. The Hurt Syndicate, they're one of the reasons that I'm interested in anything that's going on in AEW. Scott, what would you say comparing today's WWE tag division to some of the great eras of the past?
Today's WWE tag teams are just kind of boring. Just because
they are.
They don't have the star power that the tag teams in the past, like the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. They just don't have the characters.
The charisma, and that's
charisma. That's what I was going to say. None of these teams have any charisma.
And the thing is, Johnny Gargano has charisma. They're just not letting him use it the right way.
Who's that?
Johnny Gargano.
I can't stand Johnny Wrestling, man. Never have. Still can't. Ugh.
But he has that charisma. If you get it right, the crowd will be right behind him. But they have him as a bad guy, which is not his forte.
I'm not sure what was the name of that stable that he had down there in NXT, Jimmy?
The Way.
And there were some things he was doing there that worked, but I think when you look at Gargano as that annoying little heel, he can't be one of the guys that's getting it done in the ring. It's got to almost be one of the mouthpieces, that eventually he's going to take that big bump to get his ass kicked in the end.
100%. Not just that, he's a freaking dork, straight up. Like, I'm sorry, Scott. I find him like just a dork. You know what I mean? He's cheesy to me. He thinks he's cool, but he's got no cool. He's got no machismo, like Reza Ramon would say. He's just. I'm sorry. I feel like I could beat him up. You know what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to take him seriously if I feel like I'm bigger than him already? And I could beat him up. Like, that's how I feel. Like, to me, that's, growing up, watching pro wrestling, man, that wasn't someone I would look for. He's not a larger-than-life, type of guy. What is his character, even? Is he even a character? Like, what is he? You know what I mean? He's Johnny Wrestling? Like, cool. I guess. You know what I mean? I just feel like he's got no substance. At least Ciampa can bring something, especially with that Sicilian psychopath gimmick, you know what I mean? Because he looks, even though he's a smaller guy, he looks like he'll go you though. Like he's down for a scrap. Gargano looks like you just slap him, to me. You know what I mean? So I can't suspend my disbelief when it comes to Gargano particularly. And Pretty Deadly is pretty... you know what I mean? Like they're pretty... Whatever you want to say.
I think the Pretty Deadly... They were good at one point, and then they just
in
kind of
NXT, absolutely. But they've killed them. They've killed them once they've gone to the main roster.
What really killed them was the injury that when they were just about to be on that level, and they got injured, and they kind of never recovered from that.
That's true too. And they got injured twice, I believe, as a matter of fact, which slowed him down. But look, even the chat. I mean, Zane Vichy says Johnny Gargano got to go. Ciampa got to not get hurt again. And Labrat also says paint Johnny blue and call him a Smurf. That's true. Also, Dark Sarcaster says DIY needs to go MIA from wrestling television for good. I mean, it seems universal at this point. A lot of people just don't like these guys, man. It's particularly, Gargano. But it is what I can't stand his wife either. Just quality guys.
Yeah, there we go. So you just don't, you don't like.
Sorry.
You don't like the entire family. We got it there. Let's talk about
just quietly.
Let's talk about a family that I know that you're a fan of, at least partially. Real quick in passing here as we work our way through SmackDown. We do have backstage our next sighting here of Jacob Fatu. He hooks up with Solo in the locker room. He's got some questions. So I love you, brother. I'm here for you. He's got his back. So the bloodline's still strong between those two. Seemingly, we get that brief interaction. We roll on with the show here, and we get another, hey, believe it or not, we got another in-ring promo. But this time it's, hey, where's he been? The United States champion, Shinsuke Nakamura, makes his very sinister entrance into the arena, cuts his promo about how he has been lurking, watching, and waiting for somebody who is worthy enough to answer his challenge, to step up, to take him on and try to take the U.S. championship. What do you know? L.A. Knight going to step back up to the plate, try to take a swing at it. Yeah. He's got a microphone in hand. Now we got two mics out there. L.A. Knight comes out, gets his stick in, wants to reclaim that championship. And here comes Awesome The Miz. And he's got a microphone. Microphones for everybody here. They're going to chat it out.
Get to Mike.
They need to sell those on WWEshop.com. WWE microphones.
Hey, to me personally, if anyone had a gimmick where they just stole all the microphones, they would be the most over babyface in the company. Everybody, every segment's getting microphones here. And sadly, on this entire show, the most entertaining in-ring promo came from Nakamura, the guy who can barely speak English. The most entertaining one on the live mic there. But of course, here, Miz, he wants an opportunity at the U.S. Championship. So we get LA Knight versus The Miz, and not really, I guess, a contenders match, but maybe a proving point match.
Dude, can I just say, first of all, was it just me, or did LA Knight come across as very Stone Cold promo-esque? Just the way he was delivering. I know he gets compared to the way he delivers his promos to Stone Cold and The Rock, but this particular promo, the way he was delivering shit, he had the Stone Cold cadence all the way. It just felt like that completely. But on top of that, I love Nakamura, but he looked like a chump. Once these two were just, in the ring arguing with each other, he's just sitting outside, kicking back on the announcer's table, just watching.
It's funny. I was sitting there like, did he just disappear? Like, did he just
that's what I thought
pull
too.
some magic mist and disappear?
It would have been better if he actually did leave the whole, ringside area, man, because him just sitting there, literally watching these two arguing shit and having a laugh, essentially, that's what it felt like, made him look piss weak, man. You know what I mean? I don't like the way they portrayed Nakamura at this point.
I would have to disagree with you on that.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because
please tell.
Because if you're a bad guy, you're not going to be going in there. You're going to let them do the talking while you're out there just chilling.
Right, but look at the heels these days. Like, you look at Jacob Fatu, the total opposite. The Miz is a heel, I think. Right? I mean, he is, right? Essentially.
Well, the Miz looked terrible in this promo.
I think everyone looked terrible in some ways because it looked like, I know you are, but what am I? Like, it felt like that. It was,
This show buried the Miz.
Oh, there's actually buried
here. The Miz is Teflon. The Miz is Teflon. You can't bury the Miz.
Not
really.
When LA Knight said that people want to go away, I'm like, I agree, go away.
I think
that's how I looked at it,
in my opinion. But
the Miz's welcome is basically over, in my opinion.
There is a reinvention, and I'll get to that here because I do have an idea because something happened later in the show. that gave me some hope. Excited me for a potential future for The Miz. Of course, here LA Knight goes over. So it looks like maybe at the Chamber or something, he's going to get that rematch. Still not sure really what's going to play out for these two at Mania. But to speak to Nakamura, absolutely, it was so weird that on that exit that it just not even a mention of him there until the match happens, that he's leaning up against the table. So it was like, okay, where the hell did he go? Did he just, exit stage left here and let these guys have their moment? I wish they would have panned out and let us see that sinister Shinsuke lurking there, or even make mention from the commentary between the exchange, the champ stepping back here, still here, kind of taking in what these challengers are measuring and watching. Are they worthy? As a narrator, it's up to the announce team to let us know what's going on there, so we're not lost in that moment.
Spot on.
Inside of the match itself, if Nakamura is, this new unleashed, just ultimate badass, I think so many people have wanted him to be for so long, he had plenty of opportunity. Why are you waiting for one of these guys? You already disposed of LA Knight when you won that championship. In my mind, someone like Shinsuke would not think anything of The Miz. He should have unleashed just a lethal ass kicking on both of these guys.
Right, absolutely. And even blew the mist on both their asses, as far as I'm concerned. You're right. He should have absolutely whooped both of them. We didn't get that. He just looked like a simp.
Right.
Or a cuck even. You know what I mean? He's just watching what's going on over his belt, per se.
I think this goes to, again, they're only operating at about 40% of the height of these characters, of really where they're at. So I was expecting more from Nakamura to take both of these guys out. But again, we've got LA Knight going over, and it seems that we're going to be revisiting that rematch. So we've got that there. We got a brief backstage. I'm going to zip through a couple things here where, again, this is just useless to me. Bliss runs into Jax. Jax says, hey, she knows a thing or two about friends betraying her. Bliss says, hey, I'm rooting for you. Maybe we can face off at WrestleMania if you win the belt and I win she wins the Elimination Chamber. Back in the room, we got What's Up? We got the live rap there entrance from R-Truth. This is going to be the mellow moment of this week.
You missed something in the Nia Jax, the Wyatt 6 thing.
Oh, yeah. We did
the glitch.
Yeah. If they
and
put
then Nia
in
Jax says that was kind of rude of that interruption. And Candice is like, well, that was rude of her. And she's like, I wasn't talking about that.
Yeah, all right. So she's kind of seeing it through that fourth wall there. I saw the glitch. I didn't catch the
I got that. And that kind of popped me just because they don't usually do that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you get these little Easter eggs in here, but by the time that you're running through all these same motions, those wear thin. So, I mean, I'm curious how many people did pick that up there. Even, this match here with R-Truth and Mella. Let's cut to why this happened. So we got earlier in the day where Mella's getting his haircut, and you got to get the comedy spot in with R-Truth about Tozawa. I don't know how necessary it is in this. I'm already running thin on my patience and my interest in the show.
Fucking ridiculous.
That was just filler.
I get it, but what we're looking at a show, and Jimmy, I was comparing this as, when you write a great paper and it's 2 pages that you hit, you're supposed to hit 3 to go back and ruin it with the filler.
Right, exactly.
All right, so they did run this during the entrances, so it didn't take up like its own time. So we've got 2 different things going on. So I do get it here. But anyway, it's that mellow moment where they're trying to rebuild him here. So he goes over in that. Very cool. I love cross-promotion stuff here. We get the highlights of the Eagles Championship Parade and them with the WWE Championships. Great cross-promotion stuff. And let's see, we already talked about the Profits. We tied that in Tag Talk. KO, we get his rebuttal to Sammy. We talked about that. Now here we go. We got one of our first 2 marquee matches for the night co-main event. Part number 1, the Women's Championship on the line. Tippy time. She's making her way to the ring. Of course, she's going to be taking on the former champ Nia. We got Charlotte watching in the back.
Dude. Charlotte, Cha-Cha. I'm sorry, man. It's getting worse. She needs to find clothing that actually fits her now, Rick, because...
she was hiking those pants up quite a bit.
She fucking was,
hey,
bro.
You know what? I know I hit last week, hashtag not my Shar. I don't know how she's...
It's getting worse, Rick.
I'm not trying to knock her on it. I think this is
I know.
I think this is a serious issue, a body image issue, where she's almost developed an addiction or something to transform to what she believes this perfection is. And I can't believe that people aren't trying to correct her on this thing. I did think she looked better this week than she has since her return.
Do you think so?
That isn't a praise. I just think she looked better here. But anyway, we're still waiting. We've had Jay has announced that he's going to be challenging Gunther, so we're still waiting. At this point in the show, we're still waiting the announcement from Charlotte to know who she's going to challenge. But we do have the women's match underway. Inside of itself, Tiffy. Well, let me ask you guys this before we start talking about the match itself. And I had this in my notes. So we have got Tiffy time. We've got Nia. We have got Candice. We've got Charlotte in the back. So I'm going to ask you this, Scotty. We kind of talk about the women's division as a whole here, but especially these individuals. Who the hell am I supposed to relate with and have sympathy and want to cheer for? All of these individuals just scream total see you next Tuesday to me. They're people that we would not like in public, no matter who they are. And I know they're trying to put Tiffy over as the baby here, but she's just that valley girl. By default, I think they're trying to. I don't think they know what the hell they're doing with Charlotte. She's floating around in a limbo, can't decide which direction she wants to put the promo in.
100%.
Nia is supposed to be this big badass heel, but every time we go over to social media, she's TikToking and dancing, and
I hate that, dude.
And ruining that persona as we blur those two worlds there together. Tiffy she's a valley girl. Nobody would like her. If she walked into, if you're out at a club, a bar, or something, she is that stuck-up snob.
100%, man.
That seems it's not going to want to have anything to do with 90% of the people, unless you got some of them butts
like
rocking.
The female version of a jock, almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Sky, make some sense of this for me, man. Why, if any, of these ladies should I be rooting for here?
I'm not sure. They were not booking very good these women at all. And I don't know how a Minnesota girl is a Valley girl. That's where Tiffy's from, Minnesota here.
She is.
Hey, that's even more reason to hate her. But no, I mean, as I'm watching those intros, there's nothing about any of these individuals. The only lady that was on the screen during this segment that you want to root for was Lillian Garcia, the ring announcer. So the match itself, you have Tiffy kind of using her athleticism and speed to elude the bigger and more powerful Nia Jax. She's dodging some shots, and she's kind of, surprising and wowing Jax by the athleticism and speed. Of course, you do have Nia is able to get her hands on her, and she is just whooping on her. And one thing that I had in my notes here, why does Nia continually, I know it's a great visual there, but go for that bonsai drop? She needs to work into her arsenal like a camel clutch. Just excruciating
Wasn't
pain.
You and Ben talking about that actually on the locker room?
It might have been. Maybe it was in my subconscious.
I remember hearing this conversation. That's why. And by the way, Ben popped me when he talked about Kendrick Lamar. That popped me because I felt the same way in a way. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. But I agree, the camel clutch, something like that. I mean, with her size, it'd make total sense to use something like a camel clutch. Plus, she won't hurt anybody using that move because she worries me every time she does a bonsai drop anyway. And when she wants to be stiff, she can be. But even like, I don't hate Nia, man. I think she's there to be who she is. She shouldn't really lose any more weight. Otherwise, she loses her whole stigma on who she is. but I feel like she needs to be more of a monster and more dominating.
Yeah. It is regularly you hear, when Ben and Mr. Russo and Steve are talking about it, that she needs to lean more into that monster. To me, that
Absolutely.
ship has. Hold on. To me, that ship has sailed. She's not going to do it. She is not going to do it. She wants to be the Valley girl. She wants to be the pretty girl. So we've got to find a way to lean into that aspect. I don't know if that's ultimate success, but that's the way she wants to go. I think that's where you're going to get the best with her. With that, though, you're going to have to find some other powerhouses to come in and match that and just beat her down at certain times if you're going to try to put any sympathy on her. That I don't know. Those are other discussions. Maybe Beast from WoW or something like that, but yeah, Jordan Grace potentially. Those are discussions that we could have. Scotty, I know going in, you said you were looking more forward to the men's main event, but did these ladies do anything for you here in the story in the match?
The story of Tiffany's resilience intrigued me.
Yeah.
That
you saw the injury coming back, holding the ribs and then going for, she hit a couple big brain busters. Her body gave out when she tried to get her up on her shoulders. So it is the resiliency, the fight back here.
So, but my only question is why Candice LeRae
shades of a baby. They're showing shades of a baby with Tiffy, but we're still getting the Valley Girl act.
She's a tweener sort of thing, really, at the moment in many ways. But still leaning towards more of a heel.
Wieners, dude.
Yeah, 100%. I like that. Sorry, Scott, what were you saying, man?
The ending of the match is like, why would Candice LeRae get Nia Jax disqualified when she's trying to go for the belt?
Blatantly.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And then Nia just shrugs it off like, all right, this is awesome. I would show at least be a little pissed that you've lost your championship opportunity here, your rematch at the thing. And then Nia shakes it off, says, you know what? It's already over with. I can't take the belt back, but we can break the champ. At least show a little bit. That was my first thought. I'd be a little pissed. This bitch just cost me this title match.
I think they've kind of segued now into separate story. Now the paths are going this way between Nia and Tiffy, because obviously we see Trish get involved also in the match and to help out Tiffy. They're probably using Trish Stratus even to get Tiffy over more as a babyface at this point.
Yeah. I agree with you there. And, but we're talking before about in that moment. So now you got Trish involved. Trish makes her way in to get the save. She ends up, kind of taking the wrong side of this beatdown as Tiffy and Trish are left laying there. Here's what I'm hoping as we get the story here is that but why do this now? A week out? Right? We got 2 weeks. We got 2 weeks until Elimination Chamber. So now we've got to rush. We have to rush and potentially tell a story where the mentorship and the influence of Trish Stratus, who had to overcome, playing that heel early on and being just flat out unlikable person and transforming herself into who she. Right. So she has got to pass those lessons on to Stratton, who can become much more humble. Even her catchphrase, Tiffy time, that means it's about me. It's about Tiffy.
Right. It's all about her, dude.
If you're going to be that top babyface champion, you're there for the people. It has to be at some point. Tiffy time is everyone's time. This is our time to shine. I really wouldn't be here the champ if not for you guys. That typical baby.
She doesn't come across as humble though ever, dude. Even as a person.
So hopefully hopefully Stratisfaction can get her into that transition.
And that's what they're doing. That's what they're trying to do 100% by having Trish interject with Tiffy, because now it's Trishy and Tiffy time.
Scotty
is going to get everyone over.
Scotty, do you like your Minnesota girl? Is it going to be a positive rub here for her from the legend, the Hall of Famer, Trish?
I think so. It's a good way to get her over with them taking.
But you know what worries me about Trish? Did you guys notice she got no reaction, man, in Washington, in DC?
She'll
Yeah,
get
'cause
she'll,
we're going. Go ahead, Scotty.
she'll get a reaction in Toronto for
Oh no,
Elimination Chamber.
100%, of course, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's why she was there to build that thing up.
yeah,
And
big time.
when I saw her, I'm like, she's gonna help Tiffany.
For sure,
That's
Yeah,
why
makes
I-
sense.
Big time reaction for her in the hometown, and that's what they are. And also, if you notice throughout this episode, they are pushing that tickets are still available. So they are
that's
trying.
strange, dude.
They are
That's strange.
trying to build up, to bolster up that lineup to get that hometown crowd. I think they
'Cause
struggled
it's-
last time they were in Canada up there moving some tickets. And what you said is strange, Jimmy, is from a company that every PLE we're getting blockbuster reports of how they're just shattering numbers.
It's true. Speaking of earth-shattering numbers, Tony Khan is an idiot for one reason. About what he said about the Grand Slam Australia being the highest. I have to just say this because it's laughable because he thinks we're all idiots. He said that Grand Slam Australia is the highest international gate other than All in England.
Well,
Think about it. What countries have they gone to, for fuck's sake? They've only ever gone outside of the US and Canada. It's only been the UK and Australia.
Have they done Mexico or anything like that?
No.
It's pro wrestling. It's business. It's all
It's
about
so
finagling.
dumb, though.
Finagling
Of course.
numbers.
But Australia's the only place they've freaking gone to outside of the US, UK, and Canada. So of course it's the number one international game.
Hey, a little plug there for all AEW. They're going to be sorting it out. Jimmy T and the Vet on the Wreckage tomorrow. They're going to have some big scoops, some big news for all things All Elite Wrestling tomorrow morning, Sunday, the 16th, 10 a.m. Eastern, right, Jimmy?
11 a.m. Eastern, actually. For
11,
10
okay.
a.m. Eastern for I Like a Raw with myself and Big Ray Hernandez.
Okay.
But I also want to point out some peeps in the chat. Gruss, you got heat with me now, bro. She's still my favorite dish, but I thought you don't like Greek food. Just quietly. It's a little inside joke between me and him. Because he claims he hates Greek food, but yet he likes Trish on his dish. I mean, we all know she's Greek background. I'm just saying, even though she's Canadian, but she's of Greek heritage. So I just wanted to point that out. And also, apparently Zayn is not mad at Charlotte's clothes. Really?
I'm with Vision. This is the best she looked since she returned. Good transition there, Zane. Thank you. Because another big part of this segment, and to me, was a bit too much. This should have been about the moment with introducing Trish into the storyline, setting up the match at the Chamber, really focusing on the tag team and the potential to transition Tiffy Time from Tiffy Time, that Valley girl that nobody wants to like, into more of a humble, appreciative baby face to get under that learning tree, no pun intended, of Trish. But we do have Charlotte. She makes her way from the back. A little something subtle I did like. They didn't have her standing awkwardly looking at that stupid screen. They actually gave her a couch to sit down on. She could relax. It was actually looked like a lounge where she could assess the situation. Charlotte comes out. You get the entrance from the Queen. She utilizes the steel chair that had been left in the ring. She sits it, and she's asking Tiffany if she's awake, if she can hear her, if she can open her eyes. But I have a feeling when Creative presented this promo to her, it sounded good. One of those that when you talk about it in the back or on paper, terrible delivery. Just a terrible execution. Terrible.
Right. Absolutely.
At this point, why don't we just roll out a freaking teleprompter for Charlotte and just put it there? Exactly what we're getting there. But she chooses Tiffany. I choose you. So again, to me, this is too much going on. We don't need this right here, right now. WrestleMania is not to the end of April. We got like,
I don't know. Take your time, right? Build something, man. Like some intrigue. They're literally shooting their shit real quick, including with Jey Uso picking Gunther and now like
I'm okay with
Charlotte.
one. I'm okay with the one. I guess last week I asked you, Jimmy, have we ever had a Royal Rumble? Or Scott, maybe you can answer this. a Royal Rumble winner wait until after the Chamber, so we don't necessarily know who the Chamber winner is going to get. We just know they get one of those spots.
Though. That's actually a great
To
question.
me, there will be some
Scott.
intrigue. I actually would have had Charlotte announce that she was challenging Tiffany at the Chamber after the tag match.
That would work. I mean, it makes sense out of PLE, and we still got a lot of time even from the Chamber onto WrestleMania. So yeah, I mean,
basically, it's like 10 weeks to WrestleMania.
That's crazy, man. That's actually pretty crazy.
Charlotte
yeah,
just gave her a Valentine's Day card to say that I'm choosing you.
Yes. Well, why? Why did we not get that? That is a perfect.
How'd they
spot.
miss that opportunity? I don't know, man.
The old Ralph Wiggum to Lisa Simpson.
Yes.
Excuse you.
You know what? We can't ask you a serious. Sorry, Scott. Continue.
No, I was just saying. At least you got what I was going for with the I choose you.
Yeah. Remember that? I know. How do they not think about shit like that, man? But Rick, I want to ask you a serious question, though, man. Because I know you were a big Cha-Cha fan. I'll never forget those years of you and
I'm still
Cha-Cha.
a fan. I'm still a big fan of her.
But you're doubting yourself now, Rick. You're starting to doubt yourself. But in all, truthfulness here, do you think Charlotte's regressing?
I think that's a fair question. I don't know. Maybe, man, I have thought about that. That is a good one. And I would tend to agree with you, or is she flatlining? I don't think that there's anything going forward across the board. The matches are all very similar. We're not seeing anything evolve there. They work.
She's not the same Charlotte, dude.
But the star power is not increasing.
Definitely not.
Her crossover appeal. We haven't seen any character development. We haven't seen it evolve. She seems very lost in a way, where she's out there. She's having trouble not just reading, but reacting, being able to flip those switches when it comes to judging, engaging the crowds. That's a very fair point there, where she's at. And if we look at that, though, over the last couple of years, a lot of stuff going on in her personal life, things just, surrounding her dad. Another is what we're seeing here. Not that we want to go total TMZ, but potentially another failed marriage.
I know, unfortunately, her and Andrade, I can understand why that might have happened.
But
Andrade might have been like,
and I think there is
too much Botox.
There is a deeper psychological issue, I think, with her about body image.
She's literally like self-conscious about herself in every sense. 100%. You don't go that crazy with plastic surgery and Botox, and she's lost so much weight where she looks almost.
She went from looking like a world-class megastar athlete to like someone, one of those models that you see about with an eating disorder or something like that.
Right. She's even borderlining looking like I hate to say this, man, but borderline junkie looking dude. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, she's lost so much weight.
Yeah. Wait a minute. The circles and the places I hang out, I see plenty of them. No,
am I wrong? Am I wrong? I mean, so have I. But honestly, you know what I mean? And I feel bad for her because whatever's going on with her, she needs to get straightened out. And if I was WWE or Triple H, tell her the truth, man. Someone needs to be a friend or a boss or whatever and tell her. Because the thing is, she's self-aware of what the fans say about her because she mentioned it a couple of weeks ago on Raw about the way she looks and the way she.
There actually was a great promo that she released on social media. I believe it was over either Instagram or X, where it's before her comeback, and she's in the gym. She's hitting it. She is very dedicated and she wants to be the absolute best at this thing. But it's her. It's not all the glitz and the glam. It's her. It's Ashley. She's sweating. You can tell that her body's tired. She's continuing to push herself, and she's talking about everyone's saying it. It's given to me because of my name.
Right.
But she ends it. The point at the end, she's going for an aggressive jog, almost sprint, and she ends it with Ashley, get out of your goddamn head. That right there is the one, the girl that is dealing with all of these pressures of being the daughter of Ric Flair, that has the one that carried the torch for the women's evolution. That is the standard that is regarded as not just currently the best, but arguably one of the best women to ever lace up the boots.
100%, and I agree.
Maybe
with that.
add in to another. How many people, individuals that are going through hard breakups that haven't been able to, because you're so committed to your profession that you can't balance a personal life. These are real issues that can relate to people that will humanize Charlotte and hopefully re-engage a connection with the people that have just been turned off to her.
Yeah, and it's sad because, they were going with the babyface sort of reaction initially when she won the Rumble. And the fact that they turned, now she's segued into pretty much a heel because she's got no other choice. You know what I mean? She has to be the heel.
As they transition Stratton into that baby, they gotta turn it up on Charlotte. You can't have this wishy-washy shit.
No, not at all. But you know what? Do you think she's even going to beat Tiffy, though, come WrestleMania?
I over the chat, they seem in favor that it's going to be Charlotte that gets that win. I
don't think so.
I don't think
I'm with Scotty.
either.
I think we get the turn here. You make a top baby, a top star in Stratton on this one, and kind of go back to what was just talking about.
How you do it too, getting Charlotte to put her over.
And you need to humble Charlotte after that match in some way. Maybe send her at that point, not back to NXT, but Charlotte takes and has to go recreate herself and find herself or something like that. Well, gentlemen, let's jump into our other co-main event, the main event, the closer for the evening. Scotty said this is what he was excited about. I was excited for this thing. This is my kind of wrestling. We got some big old heavyweight heavyweights ready to throw down. I mean, this thing, as they put over on commentary, this is going to be a demolition derby, triple threat, getting only 2 spots going into this match. This was going to be for the second last spot in the Elimination Chamber. We got Jacob Fatu. We have got that big SOB, Braun Strowman, and we got Damian Priest, a former champ, going at it. Guys, we get the triple threat dynamic into this, which means no disqualifications. I like this match. I think it was a slow start. The old, in professional wrestling, it's hard to get quality, technical matches out of big men. It's nice to have that little guy to create that motion for you. It seemed like these three had a little trouble finding that groove early on because they were trying too much movement, especially like on that early spot where you had Priest and Fatu knock Braun Strowman from the ring. You see Strowman was just kind of over gauging that. But they found a groove where they just settled in and just started beating the shit out of each other.
Towards the end, definitely they found their groove. But I feel like it's Strowman that kind of brings him down, though, in many ways. You know what I mean? He feels confused, even still to this day, sometimes on what he's meant to be doing and how to do it. Does that make sense? That's why I find him as one big dope, like for me personally, when it comes to Braun Strowman. And this was all about building the story between, the bloodline with Jacob Fatu and Priest. 100% I knew was going to win this match to go into the Elimination Chamber because it made sense for him to be in that match. I just knew Jacob wouldn't end up in that match. And Strowman was there to pretty much lose and do nothing. Because they don't see really anything into Strowman other than putting other guys over at this point, dude.
He is one of those guys. It's great if you're flipping through and you say, "Oh my God, look at that guy." He's still good for PR. They still got Omos on the roster. He did a spot at the hot dog eating contest because he looked like this incredible giant, out there. He looked like a professional wrestler. Scotty, your thoughts on? I know you were looking forward to it. You said thoughts on the match and the outcome.
The match was really fun. And
it was fun.
And as Jimmy said, the only one that made sense was Damian Priest, even though I would have loved Jacob Fatu just for that elimination. He would have just killed it in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Oh, he would have been made if he
I agree with you. I actually, going into this thing, I know the rumblings were Priest, but I thought they were going to go Jacob Fatu simply for the same reasons that a lot of the reasons that I talk about Chelsea Green being in that match would have been such an incredible spot for him to shine, where, Chelsea would have been a great job selling and helping tell a story inside of the match. On the other side of that, Fatu in the men's match would have, inside of that demonic structure, would have just magnified how much of a wrecking ball and a Tasmanian devil, the wolf, the werewolf or whatever, that he is.
Was it you that mentioned the wolf pack, like getting the faction together, like again, like with Jacob Fatu, but have like a NWO wolf pack, like the wolf pack thing? Someone said that on the show.
No, not me, because that's a terrible idea. I can't remember who said it. That's a terrible idea.
But someone said they wanted the wolf pack to get back together, and I can't remember who it was, man. It was one of my co-hosts on the show last week sometime. I can't remember exactly who, but
I do see keeping him out of the chamber, though, because as fun as it would be to see him go in there.
It would be too over, Rick.
Over is, if that's another great point, is he going to steal the shine from some of those big names in there, and you'd have to pin him in there.
Yeah, that too.
Because he's not going to win it.
No, it's not the right time for Jacob just yet. I'm cool with that too. Save him. He's got plenty of time. We can hold out.
You continue to give Priest that shine. See what he's really made of, to put him in there with some heavy hitters. I mean, this men's chamber is stacked with a who's who of stars right now.
Absolutely, man. Actually, stacked chamber, man.
We do have to help close out this match here. Solo comes in and hits the big Samoan spike on Braun, but here comes Captain America to the rescue. Brave New World, Cody Hawk. He's gonna interject himself, and we have. Oh, you've already got enough melee going on in these monsters in the triple threat. Now we got all these other outside factors involved, and Damian Priest is able to steal a win. Scott, I'll let you kind of go first on this one. We know we got Priest in there. As we set that up, it becomes really an afterthought as we focus now more on what's happening with the Samoans. So how do you see it playing out in interest, potentially with some conflict in a match between Solo and Jacob?
I'm for that match, just because I think they're building Jacob to be the next big thing.
How soon do you pull that trigger? I mean, is it you go into the summer with him chasing a championship?
I would build him up throughout the summer and have him beat Cody at next year's WrestleMania.
Okay, well, as you continue to build him towards the top of that Samoan bloodline, that means what, SummerSlam, that he goes through Roman?
Yes, and just have him destroy Roman. Roman just doesn't have a chance of winning. That's how I would book it.
The only thing, and I like that, the only thing that lets Jacob Fatu down a little bit, honestly, as dumb as this is going to sound, is his size. Like, he's kind of a small, big guy, if that makes sense. And for him to eat Roman alive just doesn't come across as totally believable to me.
Why not? It's one of those things. He's the werewolf.
Right, he's a werewolf, a lone wolf at that. But you got to look at the size difference too, the psychology of that. He's a monster. Don't get me wrong. It's because it's the way he projects himself is what makes you believe in him. You know what I mean? The way he talks, the way he does things. But when you really look at it, he was by far, even in this main event, the smallest guy in this match. Completely. You know what I mean? And I hate saying that. I hate saying it because I'm a huge fan of his. But really, he's on the small scale of the big guy. You know what I mean?
But if Roman wants to make him the next big thing, he would let him do that.
I hope so.
Could you see? I mean? I know there's a lot of speculation, and we still got, as we said, 10 weeks to go to watch this thing unfold. Could you see them shotgunning Roman and Fatu to this WrestleMania? Because we're not going to have Roman involved at the Chamber.
Nah, that would be the match with Rollins, the way they're building towards that. Surely. You'd think. Even possibly if Punk doesn't win Chamber, for example, we couldn't even get a triple threat between Punk, Rollins, and Reigns at Mania, possibly.
There's still that, the favor that is owed to Punk here.
Exactly.
I'm looking at, and it's good that we have all of these open ends. There's the possibilities that we could be in. I'm just saying, if I'm sitting in that creative room, I'm having a conversation. Maybe it's doesn't have the most traction. There's sexier matchups available there. But yeah, we've got one spot left for the men's elimination chamber. We know that's going to be determined Monday between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's that final spot. So we know that Roman, unless there's a replacement somewhere here in the next 2 weeks, not going to be involved in that match for a potential title opportunity. But there's always ways around that. I understand, but as we're looking at laying out the creative path.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can go for this WrestleMania. That's for sure, man. We'll see what happens. And like I was saying, I hate saying that about Jacob Fatu because I'm a huge fan of his. But MLW is not WWE. He looked, he was perfect. He was a perfect fit in MLW with Contra and all that stuff. But in WWE, he kind of, he's in a big pond.
You're in the big leagues now. You're dealing with those larger than life. Mike Martin.
Literally the big leagues. You know what I'm saying? And perception is, professional wrestling is all about perception, man, and image. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a big part of it. The thing that saves him is just a nutcase and he's a Samoan nutter. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you guys this, and I want to throw it to the chat because they're making some great points and good conversation there. Mike Martin talking, when Fatu came into WWE, he was 40 pounds lighter. He was much more cut there in MLW. He's putting that weight on. So they realize that he has to beef up. I don't know necessarily if it's coming off with the best presentation. It's one of those, it's a T-shirt test. How do you look, because he's wrestling a lot with that shirt on. He did take it off there at the end, when he was showing a little bit of heat there with Solo, and kind of flabby. And I maybe that kind of can work if he could tone that up a little bit.
He had a toned body in MLW at one stage. He had a great body, actually, at one stage. But he's one of those guys that puts on weight very easy and can lose weight. I can relate to that. It's hard for him to stay steady, you know what I'm saying? He's one of those guys that needs to just keep exercising to stay that shape. But unfortunately, being a Polynesian guy, he's always, if they don't exercise, they're just going to pack on the weight, dude.
Well, John, where do you see here for Fatu, who is a hot commodity, going into the WrestleMania? Where is his spot going to be?
That's a good question. I'm not really sure yet, to be honest. Man, could we be going with him and Solo? Is that possible? If you notice, Solo was wearing all white. If you want to,
we're going to get 10 weeks. 10 weeks without a payoff between these two. I don't know if that's compelling television.
It's too long. It's too long, man. I'm not sure yet. Right now, it's hard to say, man. I think we need to wait and see with Jacob and where they're going with him. Right now, it looks like it's still bloodline politics, per se. I do think the Tongans are going to friggin' turn on Samoans eventually. 100%. Wait till the brother comes back. Tama is the silent killer in all of this. That's going to turn the bloodline right upside down on their heads, which could cause the family to actually get back together as one. You know what I mean? So I think we're going to lead possibly to even that. How soon? I'm not sure yet, though.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe he's best served on this WrestleMania season to really taking care of that body. He's close there. Just got to tone it up. Just tighten it up here a little bit. You don't have to be, the 6-pack abs, the total Adonis like a Roman. That you can have that unique build, but it's got to be presentable.
Do you think he needs Dr. Kevorkian from back in the day? Needs to get a cycle happening?
What? Dr. Kevorkian killed people, dude.
Wait, it was the wrong.
That was a suicide doctor. That was the assistant suicide doctor.
No, not that guy. Who was the friggin' doctor again in WWE back in the day? The reason why the steroid trial happened?
Oh, I can't remember his name.
Zahorian? I think it was Zahorian or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't
Something
good.
similar, man. Some Armenian sort of last name. Anyway, the point is maybe he needs to hit a cycle or something like that and actually like get into shape. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he should. I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying if he did, he'll get into shape in no time.
Well, there we go. All right, everybody. There. That was this week's SmackDown. Scotty,
Yes.
overall impression leaving the show? Are you more or less equally excited for Elimination Chamber and the road to WrestleMania?
I don't know if I'm excited for Elimination Chamber, but I'm excited for WrestleMania since I will be there in
Nice.
person.
You going? God
I'm
damn
going
it, Scotty.
both nights.
Wow, this guy. You're so lucky, man.
Damn, cruises and
That's
Vegas
awesome.
trips.
He does it all.
Guy's
Man.
he's out there living the best life. And
Absolutely.
with a busy schedule like this, taking time out of his weekend to spend the morning into the early afternoon with a couple schmucks like us.
Yeah.
Scotty, thank you. We'll let you get your plugs here in a minute. Jimmy T, what did this show do for you?
You know what? It wasn't as bad as when I was talking to you. I hadn't watched it yet initially. I watched it closer to before we did the show. I actually thought it was a not bad show, but I felt like there's too many comedic friggin' segments on this show. In some ways, too much haha and hoo hoo. You know what I mean? The only real serious stuff was really the Jacob Fatu stuff. Everything else, and maybe.
Yeah, your Street Profits, Sammy and KO.
Oh yeah.
There's some serious
that
stuff
was
in
just
there.
a vignette. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but you're still getting that emotion. And I'm going to go back. I don't want to harp on the 3 hours. It is there, but you got to make better use of your time. And currently, WWE right now is firing on all cylinders, man. We're looking at, the global expansion is incredible. Record financials. Every PLE, they're coming out and they're bragging about, boasting, rightfully so. They're shattering gate records, merchandise records, whatever. Look at the distribution deals that they have got going on. They are absolutely killing it. Like never before, they have got a powerful machine in TKO, that driving force, taking them to that next level. But where they continue to not just fall short, but epically failing, it's not just WWE. I think it's across the board in professional wrestling, is how, again, pro wrestling is being presented as a television product in 2025. They need some fresh mind, some fresh insight to reinvent how the programming is being presented. Go back to Netflix right now. One of the concerns is the drop off in live viewership for Raw. The drastic drop
off, dude. Huge.
One of the problems with it being on a streaming site like Netflix, it's like you're in a pro wrestling prison. When it's on USA, when it's on Fox, you have the ability to flip away and come back to it. Refresh yourself. It's not that easy with streaming because you got to stop the stream, come back, either join live, find where you were. You're locked in. So why commit to a program that's not going to hold your attention for barely 2 hours, let alone 3 hours?
Right.
That is the problem. You need somebody that fully understands the art of theater, of television. I know his name's on our door. He is our mentor. We get a masterclass front row from him. But you, honest to God, need somebody like a Hameen to come in who can take all of those genres and put them together for professional wrestling and reinvent how it's presented on television. It's the only thing that pro wrestling is missing right now is the television. I would say the only thing, because we still need more development in, we're only getting about 40% from our characters and from our storylines, but that all comes together. And that's what we need going forward. We need something major right there.
You're right. I 100% agree with you. But unfortunately, professional wrestling and the politics, sometimes holds it back. You know what I'm saying? And that's what sucks, when it comes to pro wrestling. And of course, politics is everywhere. It's not just wrestling, but you know how it is. a lot of bullshit that goes down, right? So
real quick, Mike Martin asking, do ratings even matter when they're getting $5 million? Hey, the Carnies, they worked it. They've got their money. You're right. I'm not trying to make jest of that, and that's serious money. They hit a home run with that, but that viewership does matter because you're selling. What they're doing is like when they went to Netflix, they sold them, hey, we are live, and that is a premium product in streaming or television right now because you want real-time viewers. Because that across the board, whatever the platform, they're going to be able to generate more money for that thing instead of just the rewatches. So it does help in a sense, but that it is, the game is changing there.
Keep in mind, there's a cool-off period too. If they're not happy after 5 years, they can just chop up the contract and we move on. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and there are the positives also though with the Netflix that you can go back anytime and watch that. There isn't necessarily, hey, you know what? You can say that. Well, I don't have to watch it now. I can watch it Tuesday. That also is a problem because you want a product out there that is must see. You want to be the first ones to be in that group to experience. You don't want to
100%. You
don't want to risk getting into those spoilers or it's not that important. I'll just get caught up on social media or what people are chatting about on the X or whatever the case might be. That's bragging. It's back in the day, you didn't want to be left out. That next day we're on the same age group here, going to school, and you miss what happened on Nitro Raw.
You read my mind. I was just going to say this to you, but continue, please, and I'll take after that.
It's must see and look across the board. You don't have that. Man, I'll catch the replay of the Super Bowl, or of the Bills game or whatever the case might be. The NFL continues to out pro wrestling because it has created those characters, it has created those storylines and that drama in addition to the athletics and everything else that goes on with it, where we have to be there in the real time to soak it in.
100%. And dude, you mentioned about back in the day, man, if I was out and about during high school days, right, and Raw was on, or Nitro for that matter, I kid you not, I would run home, right? And I'd say to my friends, I don't care if you guys can come with me, but I'm going home to watch Raw. You know what I mean? And then I'll come back out, like, after Raw. That's how must-see it used to be. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't even get that vibe. Like, I don't care if I miss it on a Monday night when I could just catch up on it tomorrow or the day after and whatnot. And that's the problem. There's no hook where you have to go running home. You know what I mean? Like, to watch must-see television. They need to change that. And I know, Triple H is trying, but, is he getting a bit complacent, shall we say? He's doing things on Raw a lot better than he is with SmackDown. I feel like he's neglecting SmackDown a lot compared to Raw. But I just feel like he needs to get a little shove a little bit, you know what I mean? Because they're selling out left and right. I think he's getting a bit too relaxed.
Yeah, I agree with it there. Right, gentlemen, let's get on the home stretch. We'll throw up that X and get out of here. Scotty, Mr. Woodford, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your amazing experience there on the Jericho Cruise. Any parting words for the Hot Mean Army before we get out of here?
Well, I was going to say that ratings do not matter. It's the engagement that matters.
Well, that's different. It's kind of different. I think with Netflix it does matter, though, right now.
This is all
elaborate on that.
This is all entertainment. Just like video games and Xbox has Game Pass. They don't care about selling the consoles. They want to sell the subscription service. So for Netflix to get WWE is just another content where people can engage in it, and then WWE gets engagement online about it.
Yeah, but we're talking about $5 billion here, though, Scott.
Yeah, but Netflix doesn't care about that.
Oh, believe me.
No, they don't, because they just want the content. Just like Xbox. But
if I've got when that contract comes up here, and I've got that $5 billion, and WWE's going to come back, and they're going to come to the table asking for hypothetically just a couple more, $7 billion, $10 billion, whatever case might be, and I'm looking just like going out to dinner. Where is my bang for my buck on my value? And if I see decreasing numbers, I've only been watching the live watch numbers, and I see them drop. I guess what's more important, because it is important for these streaming services, they want that live viewership to an extent. But what are the rewatch numbers? How many people are coming back the rest of the week and using Netflix to get their WWE fill, or are they just going and getting the clips from YouTube, or getting the fill-ins from shows like ours, or just seeing what people are talking about on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, the X. If I'm Netflix, I don't want you getting your WWE from YouTube. I want you to fucking sign into Netflix.
And that's another issue, Rick. They should stop the YouTube stuff so people actually tune into Netflix, but they won't.
Well, the company's getting their revenue from all angles.
Which is fair enough. I understand that too.
Go ahead.
Well, I have read where, like, in the middle of the week, the Raw numbers do go up after Wednesday.
Okay, so it's something I'm actually going to look into. I'm actually going to have William out, see if old Frito Scoop's going to my numbers guy, but our numbers guy. But that's something I am interested. Are people taking the time?
Because that's when I watch Raw, it's not necessarily live, because so I like to watch it in the middle of the week.
Same with me. Lately, I haven't been watching it live because I know I'm doing a show the next day, so I gotta watch it.
You kind of got your arm twisted where you need to watch it. But for me, now I've got to commit to SmackDown. So I'm going to try to get more invested into that brand. But with Raw, instead of tuning, I did it a little bit here this past Monday and last Monday. I want to start flipping, so I go away from it. And then I think to myself, I'll just go back Tuesday or Wednesday, catch up on everything where I can fast forward through some things, but I still want to get, that content is king so I can see things. Here's what I've done. I've fallen back into the groove where I'm getting the breakdown from I Like It Raw with Jimmy T and Ray, or I'm watching things on YouTube.
There's so many ways now to find out and consume all sorts of content when it comes to pro wrestling. I mean, there's more stuff more than ever when it comes to content and pro wrestling. You know what I mean? So it's a jungle out there, man. Literally, it's
got
television. Sorry.
So I say, Scotty, I have a question for you. You're talking about the gaming world and how the emphasis is on selling the online packages as opposed to consoles. If I don't have a console, I'm not buying an online package. So I need to make sure that consoles are in homes before people are going to go buy anything downloadable or anything. And that console is going to cost me a hell of a lot more than a downloadable package.
Right, but that's the future, unfortunately.
Well, with Xbox, you can use a Fire Stick to play their games through the cloud.
Right. You can use anything, basically, to play
use your
Xbox
phone.
games.
Well, what the hell does that have to do with the company making money?
They're not. I don't know. They're sabotaging themselves, Microsoft, with the Xbox. I have no idea why they're doing that. It's weird, dude.
They're making $1.5 billion a year off of Game Pass.
Okay. How much do they make off of
money on the Xbox? Sorry?
They're not making money on the Xbox, but they're making money on that and Call of Duty.
Because how can they when you can access their shit on any platform practically? Which doesn't make sense to me with the way Microsoft
Well, here's the thing. Consoles are dying. Like the sales of the consoles are dying.
How the hell do you play a game without a console?
You can play it on PC.
You've got PC. But not. And then of course, PC is like the mark-tard fucking console. Let's be real, right?
No, and then now they have the handheld PCs.
This gross like the ROG Ally. You can play on cell phone. See, I will plead. I'll be honest here. I'm completely ignorant when it comes to the video game industry. I still play Super Nintendo. That's my.
Hey, I love the old school stuff. I mean, I've got both the Series X, Xbox, and the PlayStation Pro.
Speaking of, great watch here on the Hameen channel. NSG, I loved it with the Tecmo Bowl with the Lions.
Oh yeah,
the watch alongs. Those were great. I really enjoyed this.
That was really fun.
Yes. Well, gentlemen, hey, I think we could probably go just on this little bit of the conversation for another hour or so. But let's go ahead.
Another 23 minutes.
I know.
You're supposed to wrap up.
I know. Let's go ahead. Get the hell out of here, Scotty. What do you want to put over? Let people know where they can engage with you. I know you love talking wrestling and apparently games and music and all sorts of stuff. And hey, I know every interaction I had with you, man, absolutely awesome.
Well, you can follow me on Facebook, Scott Woodford. And then on Twitter, I'm Scott Wood 76 or
Scott
X.
Wood.
The Woody.
Scott Wood
The
76.
Wood.
I call him Scotty the Body Woodford.
There you go. I have nothing to put over. I guess I could plug some shit here for us. We've got great programming damn near every day of the week. Get your weeks going there. I guess get your weeks going Sunday, technically, it's the first day of the week with the Wreckage. Jimmy T and the Vet are going to be back covering some big news with AEW tomorrow morning. You get Ben and I Monday afternoons and Monday locker room. You got the Impact Attack Monday nights. Let's see. We got Tuesday. I Like It Raw. Wednesday, head on over to Podbeam. Get the Wednesday locker room. Those guys doing what they do. Thursday, we don't have anything on Thursday, do we? And we've got Friday.
No, I don't think we
Friday locker room, and of course, beginning today, I'll be back with Jimmy T on the weekends with the smackATTACK. We'll have some schedule updates on that. And of course, you got Let's Go Brandon with all those awesome watch-alongs, and he's got the HMG After Dark where he has some fun conversations, things like that. So, hey, smash that subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to copy the link. Go to your social media. Let people know that they should subscribe and give us a follow to get the alerts with all of our programming. Finally monetized. We're finally out back on the air live. We're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, Jimmy T, get us out of here.
Oh, well, just before we do, take it away, I just want to say also like and subscribe at channelattitude.com where for $5, not only do you get the realest, but also the best talk in all of pro wrestling. Also, HaminMediaGroup.popping.com for all our affiliate shows, including the Wednesday Locker Room with the boys, Billy Ray Valentine, also Bello as well. I mean, all the boys there. The sexiest podcast in all of pro wrestling, by the way. And I think that's a wrap. So in saying that, I am Jimmy T. That is RBV. And that is Scotty the Body Woodford. And you've been listening and watching the smackATTACK right here on Amin Media's Group YouTube channel and channelattitude.com after the fact. And we're out. Peace.
Jimmy. Yo.